big week, of course, as we get the big earnings. The mega cap tech will be coming in. Of course, we got Microsoft, Apple, all the big boys, Meta, Amazon. Watch out there, guys. It's going to be a wild week, of course. During the week, we will also get the FOMC meeting that will, of course, cut rates. I don't think there's any expectation that the rates will not get cut. And then we'll take a look at what happened this weekend as Donald Trump says that there is a China deal done. Is it done? I don't know. I've heard this headline about 5-6 times. We'll see how it affects the market today. Can we get a continued lift from the China deal mentions, of course, and we'll take a look to see what else the trades are going on. I, of course, have a nice swing trade, was up about 5% this morning, coming down a little bit right now as other names are taking a hit in the industry. But I'll be looking around to try to jump on these momentum, right? There's a lot to trade. There's a lot to take a look at. And even GME up. What happened there? Master Chief Trump. Looks like the White House posting another meme picture. I think it's always funny when the White House posting meme pictures. But hey, this is the world we live in today, guys, and it's not going to change. So if you think it's going to change, well, just get in the back seat and watch the drive because it's going to continue, guys. We'll take a look at what stocks are moving, what kind of plays are out there. UMAC getting a lift. We'll go through the watch list. I think there's a lot to take a look at. And I think today is one of those days where you just got to look through and try to comb through the ditches, see what is continuing to be hot and what maybe just fell off track last week. We'll see what happens out there. Let's continue going. Let's take a look at the market and see how we're holding up this morning. Of course, we are on a little bit of a gap up move as the SPY kind of pushes away from the red line. Remember, we drew this red line. That's our line of concern. Until we break that, I'm not going to be concerned. I'm still in the bullish camp, guys. There's going to be moments where maybe you can play to the downside, but overall the trend is higher and the trend wants to continue to break out. We'll see what happens out there. Let me get this cat off here. All right, guys, we'll see what happens there. The SPY up there to 682. Can we keep the party going? Will we stay hot as the SPY gaps up another little push from, of course, Wednesday's action that really kind of ran into Thursday and continued on Friday as we gapped up above the highs and now continuing to push. And what's going to continue this drive? Well, it'll be mega cap tech, of course, if it's going to continue to go higher. On Friday, I gave out the alert of Microsoft going towards that 525 and wanting to break out. Well, there it is. Nice little sideways action, good volume. You got a little harmony, nice recovery. And look at Microsoft go. It likes to do a little bit of an earnings rally into the earnings. So here it is. And now it's up there to 531 and continuing to push. So we'll see what happens with Microsoft. Can it get back there towards the high from the recent earnings report is really what we'll take a look at. And I think this has more than the potential to get up there. So I will be watching to try to play this move and jump on top of Microsoft today. One way to play this is in our playbook. We got MSFU, which is a 2 times leverage direction, right? And so now we're really starting to get above this. You could still get a little bit of a pullback here, but you can see it. The MACD's crossed over now. It was all the way up here. The RSI had come down, right? You're below 50, but holding on the RSI. Now you start to get a break. All things looking good here for MSFU. Now we need to see this continue to drive today. So what I'd be looking for is for undercuts underneath 54. That's really the better undercut, right? Towards 54, 53.75. If we could get a move to 53.50s out the gates or maybe even down there to 53, I'll definitely be dip buying on MSFU. We'll see what happens there in Microsoft. Let's continue going over. Let's go to one that I did a little bit of fundamental analysis and technical analysis, which is Twist. I started trading this one last week. You guys saw it here, and I've mentioned it multiple times. This setup looks great as it comes for what we call a trend line approach on the weekly. The weekly got above that gap zone. Now we can use that gap zone as support, which is right around the 33.60s, 33.50s. I'm looking for 33s to play as support right here, where we could get maybe a slight undercut today towards the 34s and underneath. And then I'd play that as a red to green move back to the 36. The great thing about Twist is their fundamentals have really changed. They're now profitable. There's a lot of things starting to point to the upside. So it's not just let's say a technical breakout, it's also a mention here about the fundamentals changing really quickly. So you can see the amount of volume that's also come in this trade in the last like 2 or 3 weeks. I think they're really prime and ready to get this going to 40, and it could happen in a hurry. We'll see what happens there in twist, and this is why I'm also long on RXRX on the swing. So this was all about a weekly recovery. I talked about how the weeklies kept holding 580s, was looking for this to close back above and now start making a weekly attempt towards these highs, which would be a run to 718. If we could get that run just to 718, I'll be looking really good for a cash day today. But hey, we'll see if we get up there. I'm looking to make about $700 on this swing. Let's see if we can do that. And of course, this is the funded account that has been growing, guys. We'll talk a little bit more about the funded account. Got to continue going, right? It's not going to be easy. But one thing is for certain, going to continue to play the way that I've been playing because it's working. And until it doesn't work, well, then we'll worry about that. But what does that mean? That means a lot of haircuts, $20, $40, $60 losses, and then winning big when we win. Right now, I'm up over about 100, was up over 200, and now looking for the run to 500 and above. That's the minimum that I can take on this trade. We'll see if we can get up there in RXRX. All right. There are some names that I traded on Friday, which is in this space, which is Path. This is another name that I'll be looking for any type of pullback to kind of play into. But another name that's really hot, and it was a really nice breakout on Friday. Maybe sold it even a little bit too early. I sold it by the 16. This got as much as close to 17 on Friday, and it's already hit 17 today. So I'll be looking for pullbacks towards where it came from, pretty much around the 16, 24, 16 level. Are great levels to look for pullbacks in this name in Unipath. Of course, this is all like the genomics focus, so we can take a look at some other stocks, but definitely I'm watching this area. All right, guys, we'll go through the watch list. Let's go through some other stocks. So if you guys have any stock that you guys want to call out, make sure you throw it up in the chat. We'll catch those comments there, and we'll keep it going, guys. There's a lot more for you guys. It's Trade the Pool. Let's keep taking a look around to see what other stocks are making big moves. So what I like to do is take a look at the 5-day price trend versus the market. What's outperforming the market right now? Well, Ouster definitely continuing its strength and not turning around is one that I would not fight, right? Well, you can see it here. Nice little pattern, was going sideways, tightening. Just recently made a break to 41, pulled back, reloaded on the weekly, and just as quickly as it pulled back, it's right back up. 3 days straight back up. So now I'd be looking for maybe a little bit of some pullback back to the 35s, but Ouster really hot. And then, of course, what do you see right next to that? The Twist Bioscience, of course, really hot there. UWMC hasn't made a bad move. And then CrowdStrike, a name that I mentioned on Tuesday of last week, looking for a run in cybersecurity names. And boom, there she goes. Cybersecurity continuing to lift. CrowdStrike going up there. Zscaler going up. PanW. Right? It wasn't just one. And I think this is the important thing to call out sometimes is that it's not just going to be one name that gets to run. It's a ton of them, right? They all go side by side. It was a great move there in cybersecurity. I hope someone else was able to ride that move. Rocket also doing well as of late. We'll talk a little bit more about that. I was able to make a great trade on Rocket and Open on Friday. So Open is in play again today. We'll see what happens if we can slightly undercut the $8 spot today. That's what I will keep my eye on because I would love some washing out of the recent traders and then a recovery move. So Open in play right now. We'll look to see if we get a little bit of some pullback. And what does this have to do with? This has to do with the rate cut, not the meme play. This is why I think we needed this to get towards this area where it's not so much of a meme play anymore and now more on the tailwinds of rate cuts coming right now this week, right? So look for Rocket to maybe continue. Look for UWMC to continue. There's a lot of names that are interest rate sensitive and they could be seeing a continued lift. All right, we'll keep it going. We'll go to the next one there. CRM has been one name that I was looking for a continued breakout. It had a really strong Tuesday. Was looking for this to get that nice little move. Now I'm looking for a little bit more pullback, but I don't know if we're going to get to the 250 spot. We might just break 260 and start to climb again. So this is definitely one that I'd put on the radar. Look at the hourly, look for a move back towards 258. I wouldn't mind even trading this on a swing. The only thing that I will keep in mind is that I did trade this on Friday as a day trade and kind of screwed it up a little bit. How did I screw it up? Well, I just went way too big, too fast. So, like always on CRM, being a $200 stock and having an ATR on the hourly of about a buck and on the daily about 8.5. So you got to understand if you're going to be trading CRM, it's very volatile right now on that true range, right? The range of the stock can really get you. So that's just one thing that I'll put out there. I like the name, but I'm going to be careful on what share size level I choose for a name like this. All right, we'll take a look around at some other action. Of course, SoFi reporting this week. We can take a look at some earnings stocks. We can take a look at the earnings calendar. So if you guys want to do that, by all means, I can go ahead and bring up an earnings calendar. We can kind of take a look at some of the stocks that we'll be reporting. Of course, SoFi was on the alert for a run since Tuesday last week, and that was right here at this 229 spot. We went back down towards the 27, and then as quickly as they dip them, they rip them right back up there. Now it's getting a nice little 10% rally. It's above the trend line. Really got a nice little breakout. And earnings come tomorrow. I don't think there'll be too many people loading into the earnings. So you could see this one kind of pull back a little bit today. And then we'll have to wait and see what comes from the earnings tomorrow. All right, we'll see what happens there in SoFi, but really good move there, guys. Beam taking a little bit of a hit down with CRISPR. I didn't really see the news related, but I'm going to look around. It might have just been a fake washout. So hopefully this can recover right back up through the 70s. This was actually a name that I was thinking about swinging on Friday, and it was a really good opening gap, and then all of a sudden took the hit. So maybe this is just the gap down to remove liquidity, right? Hit those stops. Oh, and pre-market, you're not getting that stop action. So scare out those traders, right? And now start to recover back above 67, 70s. If CRISPR gets back above 70, you dang sure know that Money Mitch wants a little piece of that bad boy. We'll keep taking a look around to see what other ones are making moves, but these were kind of the stronger ones. There's some that are still being able to hold on, like Hood. Pfizer, definitely still on my radar, as I think it could make another spike back above 25. We'll see what happens there. And then, of course, the metals and minerals trade really falling off as, of course, the China deal conversation really kind of finally a deal goes through, and looks like the rare earths, of course, they were going to do this kind of 100% tariff kind of thing. China pretty much battle. I think these are how these metals and minerals are going to go when there's not a specific use case, right? So like some of these mineral plays, they're just like kind of energy plays, and they're getting the lift because of what's going on in data centers and different action, but it's not necessarily like, let's say, like my lithium call outs, where those just continue the strength, right? SQM just continuing the strength. There's still a lot of minerals and metals to be played here. I think you watch for aluminum. They got hot last week. Can it stay hot? I'll be looking to see what happens to copper, some building material names, right? Those can all be in play. I mean, there's still so much in the materials that has been hot. I think you are seeing a little bit of a pullback in some areas, but doesn't mean that some areas don't stay hot here, like maybe steel. Steel is definitely one of the areas that I have been seeing get a little bit of a lift. Look at Steel Dynamics holding the 9 EMA on pullbacks and looking pretty strong. Cleveland Cliff could be one of those names that was just up there on earnings, has pulled back for about a week. Let's see if it gets hot again through, like, let's say 1350s. This is actually one that I'll set an alert here, because if it can get back up there through the 1340s, 1350s, I think this could definitely be one that could be right back up there to 16. And then we're thinking, man, that was a great opportunity on the pullback, right? A lot of volume got loaded into this. They probably got that earnings pop and we're like, man, this is a gift. I'll take the money and run. They covered. And now let's see if some buyers can come back into this name and get right back up above 14s. We'll see what happens there in steel. So much to talk about, right? And then we got the names that are not hot, the names that did bad last week, right? You're talking your QBTS. your SMR, your USAR, your Rigetti, your FLNC even pulling back a little bit. And this one, not too bad. This one, I would say, still kind of holding in, right? Compared to the market, still not doing the best, but still hanging in there is BE and FLNC. At some point, these are going to come crashing down, but we'll see what happens there. APLD, another name that continues to kind of outperform. I remember I brought this name up when at $9 and $10, guys. This name is now gotten as high as 40 and pulled back to 35. We'll look to see if it can continue to make a run on APLD. So many winners mentioned right here on Trade the Pool, of course. We'll see what happens with other action in the market. We can keep going to some other names. We can take a look at some penny stocks. We can look around. There's a lot to talk about on the Sunrise report. There really wasn't too much. It was just more about China talks. Of course, the U.S. shelving Trump's 100% tariff threat. We'll see what happens on China's rare earth export restrictions. Those types of things can definitely affect these companies, and that's why they took a big hit down. I don't know if this will ever hold because we never know what happens with this China deal. Is it a deal? Is it not a deal? Is it going to go back? We'll have to wait and find out. There was some Novo, kind of some healthcare buyout, not the biggest news really, but definitely something to take a look at in the market. There was this RNA that got bought out, and they did get bought out for a nice premium, so that's a good sign. It was a 46% premium to Friday's close at $72 a share. It's definitely up there. I mean, at least it had the right ticker. I mean, RNA. Pretty good ticker. But this just shows me more and more. Biotechs, healthcare. That's the area we want to be, guys. And if the rate cuts are coming, like they seem like they are, these can keep on going higher. Of course, we mentioned it early on with the XBI. The XBI is up at 110. It's not the sexiest mover, but it's continued to go higher. We'll see if that party can keep going. All right, time to really kick things off and get to the trading action. I'm ready to get trading. Let's get after it, guys. Start that countdown. Let's get after it.
Google wants 200, baby.
You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money. It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at.
All right, traders, let's go ahead. Let's bring back Michael Knowles. What's going on, man? How we doing?
Happy new all-time highs for everyone that celebrates.
There you go.
What else can you want?
You guys celebrate for everything up there in Canada, right? You know.
Well, definitely celebrate new all-time highs.
All right, man. We'll see if the party can keep going. Of course, China deal, the main thing in that end. We'll see.
I would say even more than that, right? We've got all the important people reporting earnings, right? So we need to keep a close eye on that because that's the thing that really, in the long run, that drives the market. And if people are making money, they're making more money, stocks go up, right? If people are making less money, stocks go down. So
sometimes you don't have to make it too difficult. I think it was just more about the November 1st deadline that was more the concern, right? Because if that would have came and Trump just went on his, rah, I want to tariff another 100% on China. Yeah, that could have definitely threw a little bit of a wrench in these earnings calls. But now that the deal is done, right? We still got to wait on a meeting. There's the meeting with Xi and President Trump, so we'll see how that one works out. But now that the deal is done for the 5th time or the 6th time, whatever it's been, we'll see if we actually get some real details of this deal, right? Because every time they've said there's a deal, we never get the details, and then we find out there really wasn't a deal. So let's find out if this is actually over with. One thing that's pointing towards a deal, I think, done is just China prices overall, right? You look at the FXI quickly recovering and right back above the We'll call it the October 10 regional bank crisis. I don't know. Is that what we're gonna call that candle, Michael?
No.
What do we want to call it?
I
The
don't know, another
Trump
tariff tantrum.
the
Tariff
Trump
tantrum mini.
tantrum. Oh, there you go.
2.0
There
mini
you go.
tantrum, but
Toddler 2.0 Trump. So hey,
no, it's
it just
all
goes
of
to show
this
you,
again. It goes
right?
to prove this is for people who have not been in rampant bull markets. This is exactly how they go, right? Is you
Mm-hmm.
have 2-3 weeks up, sometimes months up straight in a row, and then something happens that is an excuse for people to take profits. You get
Oh
all of the
yeah.
bears getting real loud and saying, "Oh, it's over now. It's over this time." And then back we go. And
Mm-hmm.
then rinse and repeat over and over and over again. So what I'm looking for, and what a lot of people are looking for, is the one time that we sell off and you don't get all of the bears who've been wrong the whole year saying, okay, now it's over this time. As soon as you start to get quieter, and it's a really
Mm-hmm.
hard thing to quantify, then you might be onto something, because those people are the ones who have to kind of, by definition, they have to cover, or they have to buy, because they've been wrong all year. It's the only way to kind of catch up, is to have that pullback. So by the time that happens, sometimes you have a 10% or so pullback, but that's fine, because hopefully you're up tons of percentage every single year. If you're not, then you really got to reconsider what you're doing. So like, I have one account that's up like 150% right now, so that's probably going to take a 20% haircut when all this comes to an end. That's okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? You have to be okay with that.
Or
You have
you
to have
can
a
just
plan
call
back
it
with it.
quits for the year.
You could, but if you had done that at 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 100%, then you wouldn't make your money, right? And with the whole
Yeah.
Plato
It's a part of
principle,
it. It's a
right?
part of it.
It's
You could also size down, right? There's ways of kind of minimizing the damage from here forward.
You could, or just don't consider it damage. Say, hey, if I wasn't bulled up this entire year, I wouldn't have made the 150%.
It's true.
So,
It's true.
I'd rather take the haircut on the way up, because a lot of people do that. They try to time the top, they try to lighten their positions, and they may have tried to time the top a bunch, right? They may have tried the top when we hit new all-time highs. They may have, and those are the people who are usually the perma bears. Is generally, you're a big perma bear if you're missing the move. That's the one thing that makes it.
Yeah.
You're either short, or more importantly, you're just missing it. You're not, participating with everyone else. So at some point, again, this party will come to an end, but I
Yeah.
just don't see any. I don't see any signs. I haven't seen any signs. I really want your government now to reopen, so I can get my commitment to traders data. Because if that comes through and everyone is still dramatically short, then we probably have a real long time to come, right? It's so far
Yeah.
it's just an
Uh,
average year.
and I also think, as a proponent of just like securing gains, there's nothing wrong with securing gains either. If you just feel like, hey, this has been that great of a year and you're just done for the year, it's October now to November. I mean, how much more are you gonna get, right? I mean, you got about two
Could double
months.
again.
You know what I
It's
mean?
so
I,
yeah.
I
It
just think I just think with 2 months left, if you're specifically focused on this year, right? I mean, there's nothing too
well,
wrong with taking profits here, right?
Yeah, what it's doing is it's giving you kind of warm, fuzzy feelings in exchange for money. So it's whether or
Yeah,
not you can
it's
kind of put
certainty,
your
right? It's certainty,
feelings,
right?
because November, December are historically the strongest months of the year. So,
Yeah.
go into cash right before that. Again, if it makes you feel better, just know, right? You have to be able to sleep okay with night, knowing that I feel better, but I've not done the kind of optimal thing, which is hold until there's some sign of an exit. Right now, we have all
Yeah.
these down ticks, and they just get bought up. So for
Yeah.
me, it's pretty simple. Is let's have a down tick that puts in a lower high, and then we break the low of that down tick. That we haven't had that all year. So that's a pretty easy trigger. Is so you look at a candle like this and you say, okay, if we bounce and then we break the low of that, well, now we're finally in a downtrend for the first time ever.
Mhm.
You can see every one of these gets bought up. So that's kind of the way I look at it. And again, there's nothing wrong with, making yourself feel better and in exchange for
Yeah.
profits, but you just have to be honest with yourself that, yeah, it's just, you're doing it just for feelings.
Yeah, and I think it's also about what are you looking at here, right? If you're an investor, or you're a swing trader, or you're that type of position trader. I mean, if you're an investor, I mean, there's really no need to get out the market, right? Like at the end of the day, that's what you're here for, right? You're here to be here for a long time, right? As an investor. So in that mentality, yes, I would agree. There's no reason to cut in this case. And that's why I have like my kind of my trend line, right? Until we really break a trend line, there's really no sign of concern. Even on those down tick wick action that we got on the SPY, we didn't really break a trend line if you just draw it. And sometimes I think it's as simple as that, right? You just look at a chart and just say, you know what? I just believe that, we can hold on until we break that kind of a red line, right? Just draw yourself a line in the sand, right? Until this happens, until that red line breaks, I can just continue to ride the trend higher, right?
Yeah.
That could go all the way to 700. That could keep going and get up there in the 730, 750. There's nothing to be worried until you get back into where you're starting to break weekly levels, you're starting to break trend line levels. Then you can get more in that sign of concern. And then I think it's just also about positioning, right? Because some people did miss this kind of little rally in the SPY. And then I saw, of course, on the street, on Twitter, people attacking people because they're not long. And I also think that, it's okay, guys. If you missed 1.6%, guess what? The market's still here, man. It's not going anywhere. So you can always get right back into the market. I think it's okay at certain times to just be a little bit careful. That's okay, right? If you were just careful and you missed a little bit of this rally, all right, shake it and let's keep going, right? Let's look for a nice little pullback day to get back in the market. That's all you got to do.
That's a much different beast too than the perma bears, right?
Yeah,
There's
definitely,
one thing
definitely.
to say, hey, I'm a little lighter and I want to be, and then there's other things saying, and those
That
are
I
the people who
sold
trigger me
everything out,
more
right?
than
And
anything. Is that
yeah,
on every downtick they go, quick run, quick, sell
run,
your
run.
shares, sell your
No, it's
shares,
okay.
and it's
It's okay.
because it's the way it works is that this kind of feels like 2021, where if you didn't participate in 2021, it's one of my favorite sayings on Wall Street is if you can't survive the bull market, you'll never survive the bear, right? And
Yeah.
2022, 2023 was rough, right? It was a bear market. It was hard to participate in it. So anyone who didn't take advantage of that wicked rally, which I heard a lot of the same stuff in 2021, where everyone's, oh, this is crazy, it's a bubble, blah blah blah, and
No,
you had
we
like a
can say that market did break in when? In December, right?
yeah, well, January, yeah. So I think December, the end of December, like the last day of
Yeah,
December,
the
the first day of
last
January was the top of that one, and we had a trigger event like we always do.
exactly.
It was right the war with Russia and Ukraine, and we don't know what the trigger event will be this time because if we knew,
Never
it
know.
would already be priced in. So it's
Yep.
always something out of left field. So we never know when it's going to happen, and the point is that if you can't hold on
Hmm.
during the good times, then your life's going to get way harder during the bad times because
Oh
I
yeah.
guarantee you I wasn't up 150% in 2022, 2023, right? Those are the years that day trading become way more valuable because you've got a higher VIX, you've got more intraday volatility, you're not making as much money or anything from the swing side of things. You're just trying to hold on so that you have these times. And I just see so many, especially new traders, they fight their way through a bear market and maybe they get through it okay.
Yeah.
And then they're so kind of gun shy after a bear market that they think that, every rally has to end badly. And it just doesn't work that right because each
Yeah.
bear market in history after 2008, the low of that bear market was higher than the low of the one before it. Right. So if you don't have that plan of how do I just stay invested and not do a whole lot when the market's just ripping every day, it becomes difficult. It becomes a hard game to play if you're always just kind of fighting the whole time as opposed to just letting it go.
Well, of course, everyone's going to be looking. Well, where are the opportunities? Where do we go and look for longs here, right? And
Oil is interesting to me. So I saw this
oil
chart.
is interesting.
Let me share. Do I just do a presenter view? There we go. So this is from Bloomberg. I saw this floating around on the Twitter machines, and this is the amount of shorts in oil. And you can see this chart goes all the way back to 2011. Have never been more short oil, and oil has been an incredibly boring instrument. Like
Oh yeah, it's
it's
been
just
pretty sleepy.
lull you to sleep. However, it could be just a potential double bottom looking play here. Had a kind of great week last week, some really strong action. So
Yeah.
I'm watching that just because we know if you look at the chart here, where was that? Right, all of these shorts happened just recently, just in the last month or so. Betting into that kind of OPEC meeting, and if they're wrong, they're going to have to quickly cover. So
Oh yeah.
that's for the future side of thing. But of course, you've got a lot of names that can move with oil. This is the cheapie. What is it? INDO is one, which is a cheapie with a pretty low float stock. And then it's what HU,
Yeah.
who's HUSA. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this is the one that all the degens go after every
Yeah.
time. Right? You can see this is a very spiky instrument. You get these kind of big rips, like from here to here. That was a 500% gain.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really shitty company. Not one that you want to hold for the long run. But
The XOM
if
chart's not the worst. I mean, if you just want to stay with quality, I mean, this is hanging out here. It's just the question is, can it actually get the juice it needs?
well, then there's CVX as well, like this
Yeah.
nice looking kind of downtrend channel. Yeah. So when you're looking at oil, again, oil is really hard to trade because it is, I'm not a tinfoil hat guy, but it is, there's two sides of kind of manipulation from it because you have to keep prices stable because if oil prices rally too hard or tank too hard, that's both of those are bad for the economy. So you've got
Yeah.
a lot of forces in the world that their sole goal is to keep oil from moving because it just if you get oil ripping 20% in a month, that's really really bad. And if you get oil dropping 20% in a month, that's really really bad. So you
Yeah.
have to have some sort of equilibrium here. But every now and then, these guys are slow to react, so that's why you can get these
Oof.
spikes in oil and then they'll kind of bring it back down to earth. So I'm looking to see, do we get another one of these kind of, I think this last spike was the
Yeah.
Iran, the Middle East thing, but if we can get another one of those, then some of these smaller float names might be a
Uh,
good one.
There's a lot of bottoming in the WTI. You're looking at the front month crude there too. I just look at
Mhm.
WTI just on common, but they're both doing the same thing. Bottoming charts after like 5-year trend.
Yeah.
Right? It's a bottoming chart on a 5-year trend. And so I think this is something to look at, right? I always like long-term trend turns, right? Because those can give you the longest rallies back up. That's the way I feel, right? If you go down for 3 or 4 years and then you might just go up for 2 years, right? And then that gives us ability to play the rally back, right?
Yeah,
So,
and I don't think anyone's thinking that it's getting back to like 150 or something after COVID or after the war. But
mhm,
even if it goes from 60 and say it gets to like 80, which is just
yeah.
up highs, that's not too high. That's a 30% gain, which doesn't seem that
Mhm.
interesting. You multiply that by one of these maybe smaller cap or lower float type names, or even these different companies, now you're talking 50, 60% gain. So this isn't a sexy sector like robotics or space or quantum or whatever. It's you got to look at where the opportunity is because everything else you've kind of missed the boat on, right? If you're
Mhm.
if you're saying now is the time to get into the S&P 500 for the first time, it's kind of hard. And same with a lot of these kind of quantum computer names. So what you got to do is you got to say, okay, well, where could they potentially rotate money into? And yeah, this chart was just a really big standout for me because you guys know how much I love my positioning data. If everybody is wrong, I want to I want to get involved, right? If we
Yeah.
know that most of the time people are wrong, and if you look at these spikes in history, right, these like 2020, that was the last big spike right here. We know what happened to oil after 2020, and a
Mhm.
lot of these spikes kind of correspond with, okay, now it's time for some short-term reversals. Now I think all the forces in the universe are trying to keep this around this $60 share mark. That's fine. Doesn't mean it's not going to bleed up to 80 or bleed down to 40 or something like that. um, so yeah, you gotta understand the instrument I think you're playing. We're not looking for a long-term trend in oil, but yeah, a year maybe of a rally before everyone goes, okay, it's time to clamp down or whatever. Drill baby drill would be an interesting one. Tax mentioning rig. Is
Yeah.
that offshore drilling?
So to add some little background conversation in the oil conversation, of course, on the 22nd of October, a week ago, of course, oil prices were jumping after further sanctions on Russia's two largest
Yeah.
crude company, of course, went through. And there's more and more conversation with that, right? There's also the India supposedly slowing down purchases of Russian oil. Trump was trying to get them to completely stop. They slowed down the purchase of oil from Russia's crude exports. But something to look at, right? And then, of course, OPEC has been increasing production for months, right? If something were there to change, there's always quick reactions, right? I think the biggest reaction that could happen here is the Russian-Ukraine war actually ending. That would actually be a negative to this story. So those are the things you got to worry about. I think we'll get a little bit of mix. I think we get a little bit of a rally, and then followed by maybe the Russian-Ukraine war finally ending, which might actually be a negative for oil prices, but a positive for the market.
Yeah, that's the other thing we got to keep in mind. It's weird to root for kind of higher oil prices because that's going to obviously really hit kind of the inflation side of things, and that's
Oh
going
yeah,
to hamper JPOW's ability to do interest rate cuts. So it's yeah, it ends up being a
a little bit of a
kind of a
mix. So I think what
double-edged
you
sword.
said, Michael,
But
kind of makes sense. Let's maybe make a run to 80, and then we get the Ukraine war to kind of end, and then it's right back to 60.
yeah, and the reason I'm coming up with that kind of price is 75, 80 is just this downtrend line, right? Every
Perfect
time
trend, what I call trend line approaches, right? You just want to get it close to it, so the technical analyst can be like, "Oh no, this is going to break out."
yeah,
Oh,
well, we
as
hit
you,
here, and then maybe we come, and again, we know that there's forces out there. And for those who don't know, it's just not. This isn't a tinfoil hat. It's just one of those. The OPEC, which produces a large quantity of oil, they want stable prices because
yeah,
it's a lot easier to run businesses that produce oil when the prices are stable. And at the same time, the manufacturers and producers, they want stable prices.
yep,
And like everybody wants stable oil prices. So what happens if oil dips too much, which is what happened last week? They filled up the strategic reserve, right? So the U.S. basically
exactly.
buys more oil and then they store it. And then if prices spike too much, then the US will sell those oil reserves and flood them out in the market to bring prices down. So there's a
Hmm.
lot of different factors at play when it comes to oil in an attempt to basically price fix, right? Let's keep oil as stable as humanly possible. Same kind of thing that the Fed is supposed to do, where the economy gets too hot, they're supposed to rein it in. The economy gets too cold, they're supposed to pump it up, and that keeps things a little bit more stable. It doesn't mean it's perfectly stable. It doesn't mean it can't. You can see on the chart it fluctuates all the time, but it just those are those forces at play, and
Hmm.
net benefit for the world if they do, right, if they're allowed to. It just makes it a hard trading vehicle for us. So boohoo us. We just have to trade something else. But yeah, the fact that everyone's short makes me want to potentially buy and see if we can get into this kind of downtrend channel we've been in for a while.
We'll see what happens there. We can talk a little bit more about also. We can take a look into some other stocks out there. On the mega cap tech, Microsoft on a nice little rally. That's one name that's on my list to play this week, and I was on it on Friday, looking for a rally above 525. And look at the rally now. Maybe Microsoft getting another jump also off the GME news. Did you see Master Chief Trump? Um,
Is
yes,
that what's going on?
that's what happened. You didn't see
Oh,
it, man? Oh
of
my
course.
God. I
Why
have
not?
to show you this one, man. You
Yeah.
will you'll get another kick out of this one, man. So
Listen, this is gonna be my hot take, is that there hasn't been a good Halo since Halo Reach, and that was like 15 years ago now,
dude,
probably.
it's horrible when
So
when I research on Google Master Chief Trump and the White House's Twitter comes up. You don't make this stuff up, guys. Look at this. Look at this, man.
oh my
Power to the
gosh.
players, man.
Oh, imagine the cultists and the conspiracy theorists just waking up to see this and just
Oh, they're
brain
loving it. They're
fried.
loving it. This is the future, bro. Master Chief Trump, man. He puts on an exoskeleton. He puts on the robotics, and he goes to war. Also, baby, let's go.
Yeah. Okay.
And
So
look,
looking at the chart, it looks like
they
sanity is
they
already
they
coming in here to GameStop.
requoted GameStop.
So what are they doing
They're
with
pretty much giving a celebration that Xbox won the war. So of course the conflict was early in the 2000s. The release of Halo Combat Evolved was an exclusive Xbox title, right? So GameStop essentially kind of it's a celebration for Xbox essentially.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's why I would look at Microsoft as getting the lift today, also based on that, right? Maybe GameStop doesn't get much of a push, but I was wondering why was Microsoft up so much this morning? That's it, guys.
well,
That's
what's
the
interesting here is it shows sentiment when it comes to a lot of these names, right? We have
Mhm.
GameStop gaps up and just sells, right? So as soon as people see money in that, they're trying to take it. And
Yep.
then Microsoft, you get a little bit of the opposite, right? It gaps up and people are buying it.
And
So
people
it's
buying that, right? They're like,
right.
I'll use this. If they were already positioned in, they're like, let's go, baby. Thank you, Trump.
Well, and also you just got to keep in mind, right? So if you take a look at, Palantir, all these things are just 100% market moving. We talk about this all the time.
Mhm.
When the market is dead, when the market is slow, individual names can kind of diverge a
Oh
lot
yeah.
easier, right? You can have some names that are up and you can have some names that are down, like Palantir is breaking into the space only because the market's up. It's why it's breaking new all-time highs. There's no real news here. Microsoft, there is some news, but it's going to be, because it's such a large market component, it's going to move with those as well. And the yeah, so
So
when the market is going crazy like this, the rare thing will be a stock being down. That's or the rarity,
exactly, right? Like if your stock's down here or your stock's staying down, those are telling signs, right?
probably sucks.
Um,
Yeah, it's
you're
like
probably
so,
in the wrong area, man. Like let's
right?
say like even for me, I'm not feeling too bad about RXRX. I have this on the swing, Michael. Got this on Friday. It was gapped up this morning. CRISPR comes down, but it's coming right back up. So this is the type of things that I want to see. I want to see stocks that get hit come right back up, right? Like CRISPR went down today. I don't even know what the heck the news was. I don't even think there was news, but it takes a hit and come right back up, right? Those are the
Mhm.
kind of actions that are going to be telling me, okay, I don't need to be too concerned about this. If they're able to knock it down like that and bring it right back,
It's good sentiment checks, right? Yeah,
good sentiment checks.
the
All right.
first move and the news, and this is why I don't really focus or care about news, because uh it's happened so fast you can't make any money off it. It's
Yep.
unpredictable. So the second move to me is a much bigger deal. So in this
Yep.
case, the fact that buyers came in, they look at not even the news, but they look at CRISPR down pretty big. What is it, like
Yeah.
15-16% at some point, and then they go, okay, that's a great buying opportunity. Where in GameStop, right, they go, okay, this is a great selling opportunity.
Selling opportunity. Exactly.
But,
Use
but
use it or it loses the value because of
right,
it.
and then Microsoft goes, they go, okay, at the very least, not selling. Right,
Exactly.
Palantir, at the very least, not selling. Right,
Hmm.
a lot of these names that are gapping up, very least, not selling. But really, to me, when the market is this hot, it's all about the market. So, right, here's the ES, and I like to use the ES on Mondays instead of the SPY just because
Yeah.
of that overnight action.
Yep.
Just a nice base. So, really, with just a couple minutes left to go, this is all that I think matters, right? I'm marking kind of the high and the low of this gap and just saying what direction, right? Which way are we going when it comes to, are we breaking out of this kind of 68, 90? And if we break out, move higher, then yes, all of these other stocks will probably rally with it. If we fade a little bit, which would be perfectly normal, right? After such a large gap up on a Monday, we could come into this gap somewhat and then what do we hold, right? The only thing that I would say would be somewhat bearish is just a complete failure of this gap, right? If we're trading on the close kind of back into yesterday's range, that's the only time I go, okay, right? Just like we talked about with all these stocks, is people saw this gap up and they use it as a price to to lighten up, to chill out, to take some profits and move on. That's what we need to see, right? So I'm just marking these two areas, and then kind of my commentary off the open will be, how are we existing inside of this zone? If we're just chopping around, I think that's bullish. If we pull back a little bit into the gap and bounce, that's also bullish. Again, the bearish thing is that we kind of come all the way back down. And then on the daily chart, and if we fail back within this level, this kind of 6,800 right here, that's where things to me get a
Market's
little
open. Let's have
choppy.
some fun, guys. I'm looking around. One stock that's on my radar. One of my friends hit me up and was like, "Mitch, did you see Lumen? Lumen, Lumn. That thing's continued hot. We'll continue watching that name. See what happens in some of the small cap names. Kodak, another one. CODX, 60-cent stock that has some potential here. Actual medical device that has been getting some lift. Second time in about 2 or 3 months that it's getting insane volume. So I'd be watching that one. UMAC, of course, Pentagon deal on that one could help RCAT. Right, you guys know I've talked about these drone players. RCAT back down, UMAC definitely on the radar out there. And if you wanted to go for a little bit of a higher quality one, there's the which one is it? UVAV? No, it's hold on. I'll find you the more quality one. There's a more expensive name one. That you guys can watch there in the drone space. Those are the two, of course, we'll be watching. Let's look at what leads the gate today, especially. UWMC showing up right out the gates there for me. I'm looking for maybe another run and open, man. I played it really well on Friday. Don't know if you saw that run, Michael, but
The open door.
Open. Let's see if it cuts back down through $8 today. That'd be my way of playing open today, right? So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I saw it. I'm still in open, right? And I can just go show you guys the short float. It's because, why is that?
Pat's pulling back. I might use that.
Yeah, it's still showing. Looks like a little glitch with FinViz data. It'll probably get fixed soon, but it's still showing 27% short float on it. So I talked about my exit is when the shorts cover, right? It's when I get to see some of that action, which we just haven't seen yet. So for those who missed it, I bought somewhere in here. It was in the threes, I think. And then when we hit the 10, and we failed off the 10 there, it was like the 8s or the 9s. I covered most of the position. So now it's kind of free shares. And for the rest, I'm just looking to see, can we, if we get back to my break even or something, I'll get out. But it's a long way away. I'm just looking to see when do they cover, and they just haven't yet. So we need to just keep in mind here.
Yep. Looking for 780s hit there. A lot of size waiting at 8. You could see about 13,000 to 12,000 share orders at $8. So I know I'm not the only one watching open and some of these. Let's see what happens, guys. Let's get after it.
Looking here at first trade is a Newag.
A Noog?
GG.
Oh, that's a nice one, man. You know what that is, right?
It's building computers, isn't it? Like computer parts.
It's a computer parts store. I actually got my graphics card from them because it was very hard to get like NVIDIA graphics card when they're coming out. They're one of the few that you can usually get some really good releases and then just order from them. But it's not a bad one to think about. I mean, I remember when this thing was dirt cheap, man. This thing was in 25 early on. This thing was $7. $7. You heard that right. So,
so it's the day trading, and you can see the blue line here. The swing trading system is looking at it as well around this price.
Can't blame it.
Just like it's an anchored VWAP level, kind of right off.
I can see it being an inside day today, right? The big day yesterday. But is that what your swing system is looking for specifically?
Yeah, well, it's looking for pullbacks after really strong moves, and the day's trading system. So it's looking at this big candle and it's just saying, okay, if we get a pullback after that strong day, and I can bid into that pullback, right? So
yeah, it's not a bad look. I actually like this. Let's put it on the radar, right? For a stock that isn't being talked about much, this is not a bad one to look at. And also going into Black Friday, right? This would be the type of name that you'd look at, right? Black Friday name, this could be in that shopping list. Start having that mentality. Christmas specials, right? Black Friday runs. These usually happen, and they happen when? A week or two prior, not the week of, right? It's usually buy the rumor, sell the news events, right? I think you can keep looking for some of those to play in, right? Like a Best Buy is one that I always look at in November, and look at how it's starting to peak right now already, right? Like it's starting to run going into November, right? Not going out of November, right? They'll start running into it. So maybe an A&F play or something like that, right? That's another play
What was
to
the
look
one
at.
that did the Sydney Sweeney?
Yeah,
AEO? Maybe that's
AEO, right? It looks good. It actually doesn't look bad. It's come down from 20 to 15. It gave you the nice 30% decline, but ever since pretty much the break of 16, it's holding really well.
Watching here, just the overall futures coming in a little bit, have a long way to go to this kind of post market low, but just coming in just in here a little bit, not too dramatic moves either way. The other kind of comment I wanted to make is that if you look at the earnings calendar, there's nothing today, and I think it's Wednesday, Thursday where the bulk of large cap tech come
Oh
out.
yeah,
So, like always talk about is we've got FOMC stuff, we've got a whole bunch of big news kind of clustered in that middle of the week. So I would not be surprised to see some choppy action leading up to that, and
all
then some
right.
big power gaps, right?
Yeah, you got, of course, Tuesday kickoff, like I talk about SoFi, you got PayPal, your
Yeah.
payments, softwares, you got Visa, that's going to be a big one. Booking will give us a look into travel. EA's report's going to be interesting, of course, that buyout. You'll just hear mentions for gaming. RCL, right? Leisure gives us a little look into housing, DHI, UPS, right?
Why
Those
do
types
they
of news.
still? Why would EA still have to report? That's weird. That's like a private company now. So,
I don't think they're off the board just yet.
okay,
They're still like, in that period of where it trades
yeah,
to sideways and doesn't go anywhere.
yeah,
So at this
still
point,
there.
of course, you'd just like to hear what mentions, like what is moving forward in the gaming. What are they going to do, right? There's actually a lot of predicted markets on this EA report, man. It's the most weirdest thing. Follow my man Trader Prad if you want to
Oh
learn
yes,
more
I
about
know.
that.
He's
He's
getting
all on
deep into
top of
that.
that. He's
We
big.
should.
He's big on it.
I was talking to him recently. We should bring him on. But yeah, he's kind of one of the first traders that I've seen that's you trading it
And using
like
it, right? Using
well,
it.
he's trying to trade it. He's trying to actually like not just I want to take a bet because I like sports team or I like
Is it,
whatever, but he's
could we say
trying
arbitraging
yeah,
the predicted markets?
yeah, he's trying to. He's trying to find these really outsized bets that he's not looking for them to, uh, like the bet to pay out.
Hmm.
He's just looking for that short move. So
Oh yeah.
if something has a 2% chance, and he's like, it's a little bit undervalued. I think it needs to have a 3% chance, right?
Hmm.
He'll be buying the 2 and selling the 3. He's like scalping these things, which is
Hey,
really
I
interesting.
can't blame him. I can't blame him. He's making the money. Get after
Well,
it.
it's new markets. I always talk about this with people is that new markets, the more efficient the market is,
Let's
the
go
less edge
RX.
there is in it. So the less efficient the market is, the the less the more efficient the market is, the less edge there is. So if you get a brand new market, something like these prediction markets, even why I think crypto is so interesting. The idea is you have potentially more edge to exploit, more edge to take advantage of, right? So I think that's his idea as well. I can sport a little bit of edge here. UBS just reported something. I'm looking here on Apple. I just got my boy Walter up here.
Wow. There's some of these biotechs like NTLA that took a huge whopping this morning, and then it's right back up there, guys. 20%.
Oh, that's
Look at
wow.
that. Look at that. That's what I'm
Holy
talking about.
smokes. That was
It
down
smoked and then right
70%.
back up. Right back up. So this is what I talk about,
Yeah.
that CRISPR. It's not, it's people being like, well, you just gave us a gift. We were already loading in this thing. We're loading, baby. We're loading. I think genomics is definitely a big watch. I'm loving the RX action. You see it went down,
And that's Arc
right
G.
back up, right back up. So ArcG is another one. I put it out on my Twitter. I said
Yeah.
it's time to see Kathy's ArcG really start to perform. You got a nice undercut on this action down this early morning, but if you look at a lot of these names, they're really coming back. Compass Pathways, another one in the genomics. So that's going to help you, my friend, on PISO. ATAI looking good today. That one seems to me like a nice bet, except I know the company.
Yeah, I don't care about any of that. My mind med has just been on
Sorry,
fire.
man. I've talked to the CEO, and let's just say I don't think this company will be around for too long.
My mind med's up like 70. It's like up 100%
Hey,
this year. It's just
ride it,
been
man. Ride it.
amazing. And oh no, I'm not getting this. Mind med
Fine.
for me ends in a buyout, which is I think probably the most likely
Yeah.
thing.
A big boy comes in and buys it. ATAI, I would say another buyout. So just to
I
let
would
you know.
I would say all these, just like the marijuana companies, all these. Well, it's again these are trying to be, and I've talked about this before for the
Mhm.
people who are interested. The psychedelic companies, they're not trying. They don't want you to be able to walk down the street and buy some LSD, right? They want to be
No, that's not the idea
drugs. They
there,
want
right?
to be FDA approved, whatever. And
And
generally, what we're seeing a lot of in this administration that we did in the last is buyouts in this space, right? So if I'm a Johnson and Johnson, and I'm seeing ATAI, and I'm saying, man, these guys, or even MindMed, which is like what a $1 billion, I think, market cap. Then I can go, under $1 billion market cap. If I'm a Johnson Johnson, I'm like, listen, I'm going to give these guys like $2-3 billion, and just in case the drug works, so I have it, and then if it doesn't work, it's fine. It's $1 billion. I
oh,
write off $1 billion. So yeah, I would. This space is really interesting to me. Where again, they're not looking for. We don't. You don't need a federal government to decriminalize or anything like that. We are just looking to say, hey, is this
Tesla ripping,
can it
guys.
pass?
Tesla strong move, Palantir strong move. I will mention those. QBTS, the quantum names on the bounce back. So those are looking pretty good on the day. Just to mention names that are hot to start the day.
A little bit of
Salesforce pullback. Looking around out there, guys. What are you seeing?
CYH. The bot just took this to the short side.
Okay.
Just again, big move yesterday. He's looking for that overextension today. So I have
This one runs like
CYH
that THC, right? I've
and
seen these.
NGG. These are the two. These are the two trades right here.
So that CYN has a tendency of running with THC. So
Man, the fact that THC is not a drug company
it's
is
not
just
a THC company, right?
company. It's just that's like sell your ticker to you'd
Bogus,
imagine one of these
right?
guys would
Bogus.
change your
I
name
would walk up to the first cannabis company I see and
and
be like, "How much you want to pay?"
yeah, this we'll change our ticker to anything. We don't care. Just you should have this one. And so far, we're looking here, and the ES has done nothing. So nothing in the market. We're just consolidating. Which, again, with a big gap up, a lot of stuff on the horizon for a little bit Tuesday, really Wednesday, really Thursday. And then also FOMC stuff going on. With all of those things,
Energy pushing.
I think a choppy market today is actually a bullish sign. Like we just don't want to see a lot of give back in. We don't want to see, like we talked about this morning, this to be an excuse or a reason for sellers to come in. We want to see just some nice sideways consolidation. If we can hold at this kind of purple bar range that I've put in, that looks great.
Steel, man, steel. I'm getting a little bit of Cleveland Cliff right now, but I'm looking for pullbacks at 1330 to get big. So just took a Cleveland Cliff alert there, and I looked at oil too, but I was watching for this move, so I'm going to take a starter here and look for pullbacks to add. This is in the day trade account, but I really like this first push. I had the alert closer towards 1350s already hit. Now I'm just looking for pullbacks to add.
I'm watching FXI here. It's holding on well. I've got this up on one of my screens just because I think it's important to keep that in mind today, just because we have again this right, this bounce was all kind of China related news. So China as a whole is holding on. Stocks that I'm watching maybe from more the swing side is JD, right? Broke out of this wedge and actually did fantastically. So now I'm seeing are we going to get kind of another break of this bigger wedge? Start to get a little bit of a move there. Tax talking Baba, same deal here.
Yeah, China.
Right?
Why not?
I think this is a nice big push up, pull back. Now, again, these things I'm not talking day trading with these. Really, really hard to day trade when it comes to China, because again, all the action's happening overnight, right? So it's their market is open when our market is closed. So any earnings reports or news or anything like that, that will all just occur some other place, and then goes from there. Who owns Temu? I don't know. Let me ask my
It's
assistant here.
an interesting one to keep an eye on. I'll just throw it to you to just keep an eye on, man. That GSRT that is in the nuclear space turned over to NKLR, and it's just hanging out here. At some point, I think that's going to break 10 and just make an absolute cannon ride. So
Which
I'm
one was
keeping that
that?
on the watch. On the watch, man. NKLR. It has the perfect ticker, right? Nuclear kind of,
Oh, that makes sense.
and it just switched over. It's below
PDD.
10. You know, just hold an alert and wait for it to tell you that day is coming.
So yeah, PDD owns Temu for who was asking in chat
Yeah,
there, and that's
Temu.
probably the strongest looking.
Yeah.
I don't see a setup there. It's actually up a little bit too much. That's probably one of the strongest looking, at least short term charts.
Oh, I
Uh,
love it. I love it,
yeah,
and I'm
right
pretty
above
sure the government actually has exposure in PDD also.
the
And they
Chinese
also,
government.
yeah. And they
Oh,
also got
okay.
exposure in LI and different ones. So just like we look into those US companies, there's a reason why you should look into those China companies, right? Look at what China is actually invested in. They're not going to let it go to the trash.
Yeah.
All right, Cliff
Yeah.
holding on here. I might just add here in the 1350s. It looks like it just wants to keep going. So I'm going to step up to the plate a little bit here, see if it just wants to push. I'm still ready for pullback ads, but at the same time, if it just wants to keep running, I'll ride with the wave, right? Ride with the wave.
What SLX is that the S? There's a steel ETF.
I don't trade
SLX.
it at
Yeah.
least.
Is that all time? Yeah, that's all. Is that all time highs? No, not quite, but very multi-year highs going back to 2011 on this
Yeah.
steel ETF today.
Nucor is looking good. Steel Dynamics is looking good. This one I haven't traded in the past. TX. Never traded that one. Looks good though on the daily chart.
Yeah, ADR, so located somewhere.
Somewhere.
Somewhere not here.
Somewhere
SA.
not here.
But SA was South American, maybe South American steel company.
Ethereum holding wells. How's crypto doing, man, my friend? I know.
Ethereum bounced nicely. It came actually up. There's a lot of resistance up here
Path.
on the
Yeah.
420 area. So it had a nice weekend bounce, and then it came right up to 420 this morning, and then rejected off it. And that's where it rejected. This was that kind of flash crash that
Long
happened with
path.
all of crypto happened. So we're right here as well. So I'm watching this closely. I actually own a bunch of Ethereum that I bought during that flash crash that I'm looking to see if we can get like quickly through new all-time highs. I want to hold, but if we're kind of failing here and we start to roll back again, I may dump that position. But I bought some. It was around 4,000. I didn't catch the absolute low, but as it bounced back up here,
Michael, I think you'll love this entry and path. This is our strategy at play. I actually was able to execute on it and didn't buy the
look,
dip too. Look at path.
look the second I bring it up. So that's the green arrow on that
Did it beat my
1776,
entry? I got 1694. What did it get?
1677.
Oh, it beat me.
And a nice push up there. But yeah, it just goes to show. And again, that's perfect. Right? The break of that
Perfect.
pre-market, it was a very tight pre-market range, and a
That's a
break of
pretty
that and a
one.
retake. That's
I wonder, can you snapshot these and kind of talk to like the code to like be like, hey, this is a good one,
yeah.
right? This is a bad one, right? Is that how kind of you can maybe help it, or what do you think about things like that?
That's I
As
usually
traders
do a
are,
lot of that kind of reinforce learning
yeah,
where I'll go and I'll even sometimes just screenshot and give it winners and then just have it brainstorm with me ideas of what
love it.
what were some characteristics of winners, what were things that
Mhm.
really looked good to it,
Yeah.
and sometimes it comes up with some new things. And I've actually, so I'm on the Comet browser now, but I have the ChatGPT browser,
Mhm.
and it can actually go and modify the code for you, where you don't
Nice.
have to do, because you just bring up uh, trading view and just say, hey, update my code. So whatever. And it will go to the code panel, scroll down to find the code, write it in for you, apply it to the chart. So it's super interesting.
Yeah, open back to 820. Still keeping an eye on that one to see if it really wants to run today. Could get going here. There's the volume that you want to see. 81,000 shares at 819. Someone stepping up big, and then 29,000 shares right behind that at 818. So like that's a 100,000 share order. It's a big order, right? 100,000 shares of $8. That's a lot, a lot of money in open. So
and
let's see if it rips.
People ask about weed stocks. I just don't see anything here. It's just in a range.
It's the government shutdown, man. You need that to come back if you really want what everyone was looking for, right? They got the hint of news. The Trump. Do you think Trump's focused on cannabis right now in his Asia tour? No, he's not. No. Man. So you just got to wait for him to come back. Government to come back online. This is definitely no touch for me, at least, or a hold if you're in already.
Yeah, and that's what
kind of thing.
I'm in this MSOX, and I'm in it from kind of right where we are right here, and that's my game plan. So I've got to stop down here under lows and then just ignoring it, because you're right. You need the government to be opened up. What I want to see is I want to see them say, okay, decriminalization or rescheduling or whatever, then just get a nice little pop, and then I'm selling into that pop and moving on. This is not a sector I want to hold forever, because these are just junk. Right? They've been junk for a long time. Quick look at the SPY. Still nothing. Still not a thing going on. So anyone who's looking for a massive rally or a massive sell-off, both those people are horribly disappointed. So
yeah, nice like balancing act, and the numbers that I'm seeing out here leading today's cyclicals, financials, and then technology. It's good to see the cyclicals up, right? That could be signs of stronger move coming. And what are you seeing? Department stores start to get the run into November, right? And so what did I talk about? They love to run them before you get to these rallies. KSS, one of those names, breaking 17 right now and looking good. Did I say that? Yes.
That's almost, one of those.
Almost want to spit it out again. But
that's one of those. It's in the basket of the meme stocks as the other ones, isn't it?
Yeah, you got KSS.
32% short float. Hoo-wee.
But that's probably more playing into it. That CODX, remember I talked about how that one could run to $1? It was a 60-cent stock this morning. That's up to almost to 87 cents right now. And I know that those are penny stocks, but that's a 56% move there on CODX. Hope somebody was listening to me early and that one could run. NTLA right back at the VWAP. This will be interesting if it can make it right back up. If it can make it right back up, you're talking about a nice $2 reward for the upside if it can get back there that way.
That's a pretty nice look there, where it just came right back to VWAP, spent a long time there, and now it's trying to reverse off of VWAP there as well.
Nice run for me, at least in path. Now up about $50 on that one. And that was just not getting pretty with it, right? Just getting after it. Cleveland Cliff pulled back, never even came back to the 30s, the 1330s. I'm adding here on the break for 1350s.
Beyond Meat bouncing again. Have they not learned their lessons?
No, they have not. I don't think so, man. They have not. But I will say that big shorter, I'm not a big fan of him at all. There was a hedge fund guy or whatever. I think you even retweeted him. He did do a funny little song, but he was down big. Like, I don't know how the hell he held on. Like, he definitely woke up with his face like just pink and red and was just like, I'm going to hide in the bear cave for a little while. And then I'm going to come back to see if maybe I'm in the green. But he was big red. He was down, I think, like at least had they been down like 20% on a big position, and that I don't know how he held on. But hey, maybe that's the hedge fund way.
Well, and I just don't. You'd have to know things like the size of his account and how much he had allocated to it. And,
yeah, it was big. It was big because I know at least like there was no way that he couldn't be down. At least where the price action had come overnight and over the weekend, like everyone was down if you shorted it. So
yeah, it's just what size of right? Did he take 1% of his hedge fund? Did he take 10%
No,
of
I
his
think
hedge fund?
he's a prior guy. He's now trading his own money, that kind of guy.
Oh, okay.
You know those guys that prior worked with funds and now just trying to ride the wave. All right, guys,
Yeah,
this
no.
Cleveland Cliff, I'm looking for it to continue riding up higher. It's pushing pretty strong here. Let's see if steel can make a really nice breakout today.
Yeah, I know Brian Lee had a big short on it.
I'm hanging on to this
with him a
Cleveland
bit.
Cliff. I think this Cleveland Cliff is looking awesome, guys. All right, path right back towards my entry here. This is where it's always important to kind of look for that expansion or just get rid of it. We'll see if path can really keep going.
Yeah, for me, I'm about even here where, I've gotten the Newegg is down a little bit. What's this other one? This CYH is up a little bit, and then for there, everything else is just that's it so far. So we're just waiting to see. Got a couple swing trades on the go. This RVMD, Revolution Medicines. Ooh, nice little trade on that. So yeah, a lot of swings. I'm opening up here on Monday. Only 2-day trades, which again, I'm looking for large moves on the market or on the index for these, and so far has been no large moves. Now we're challenging today's high, and through that we've got this pre-market high above, but just not a lot of oomph in either direction.
All right, guys, looking really good in this Cleveland Cliff. So just trying to ride the positions now. Willing to add on path back above 1718s, which is second high, recent high. So I'll look for an add and then a breakout above 1720s.
Yeah, a chill out day for the market. So yeah, just make sure you see profits out there. You take a bit of them, put them in your pocket.
Yeah, let's see what's holding up in tech. So it looks like semiconductor equipment stocks. Of course, those are the hot area, KLAC, your bigger names, right? Those names that, I called them so early that I'm mad I never played them. Like that AMAT move. Dude, that should be in the CMT book. It's that's how pretty that move is. It's almost like it kills me that I didn't trade it. Those are the ones that you just stop talking about it and you trade it. Because the throwback looked to 200 and then went to 200, came right back to the trend line at 150 and has been on an absolute rocket ride since.
Boeing workers reject that new.
Boeing.
Nothing, no real action there yet. Anyway, BMNR now owns 3% of all of Ethereum. Jeez. Still an interesting looking chart, especially I cut out this craziness and just kind of zoom in from then on. It's starting to get tight. Move here. And we get this nice kind of consolidation.
Tesla's strong, man. Tesla strong.
Yeah, looking to break. It's kind of bringing the market with us. Again, we're challenging today's high, and then above today's high, we have the all-time high here, which is the pre-market high as well.
AEVA. It's an auto parts name. It looks interesting. Looks interesting for a swing. Looks pretty good as it recovered 18. I would love for it to get back near that 18 again. AEVA. This gets back to the 18s. It'll look really nice. Just need a slight undercut here to come into a trend line approach. I'm going to set an alert. Sometimes when you don't want to chase, just set an alert where you would take the look at it and look at the strength there. There's some strength. It's at 1850s, right? I don't want to step up to the 1850s, though. I want to be as close to the 18 so that I can risk 1740s, not risk 1780s, right? So in this case, I want in, but I'm going to just set the alert at 1810s and tell myself if I hear the alert, then I can come after it. If I don't, let it go.
That's how you do it. Right? That's
Look at Cleveland
first step
Cliff,
to
baby. Let's
systematic.
go. Let's go, Cleveland Cliff, baby. That's rising really well. Almost up $100 on that. I got 600 shares from 1348.
SPY attempted there. You can see it got the futures really close to that pre-market high of that 68.90. Just wicked up there and then kind of came back in. So I wonder if that's going to be a little bit of a sell and then or back into the range before a rally back through. Pretty quick rejection there.
Open kind of hanging in there. Nothing really big just showing up there right now. So just keep your eyes on it. I don't think.
Yeah, nothing too crazy going on there with pretty much anything. Now, if we get through this and hold this this high, then we could see a little trend day higher. It just shows that there is some either momentum from the long side of things, or what I think more of is a bit of a short covering rally, because a lot of people were probably short after that 3% sell-off day in the market. Might have gotten the bears a little bit too perky, and all of a sudden we reject that with two big gap higher. We could see a little bit of a squeeze action across the board where they're just kind of squeezing the entire market. Speaking of squeezes, GME's just sold all morning. God, I wonder who they're blaming now. Right? if the president of the United States talks about your stock and it's down on
I
the
don't.
day, then
A little part of me though definitely wouldn't be shorting GME here. This market, not in this market,
I'd
not in
never
this
short a meme
market.
stock. I think they're other than intraday, right? Intraday,
Yeah,
take
but
a
even
geography,
then,
take a
I think right now with the way that this market is, if there's any stock that I would maybe not fight is GME, because out of nowhere we can be looking at this and being like, yeah, this is complete BS. But at the same time, there's no reason why it can't go. If you look at the monthlies have held on GME for a very long time, and they have insane amount of accumulation towards 20. So in my eyes, I wouldn't be fighting GME. Let's just put it.
and it's a crypto treasury too. You got to keep in mind, right? They own a bunch of Bitcoin, so a lot of their value is going to be just derived by
And their
by the
floor
price of
almost driven to that now. All right, let's see if Path can really get going here. I like the name. I'm starting to come back through my levels here. I'm willing to step up as long as I'm back into the green and starting to get towards the resistance breakout. We'll see if we get that.
Some news here on QCOM just came through.
I like QCOM, of course. You're talking more of your business.
Here.
Ooh, I like the undercut too. So I like the look on that, man. That's a nice one.
QCOM launching chips for data centers, which is interesting because normally QCOM is smaller. Like
it's pushing, man. It's pushing. I see
it.
I see it right now, guys. That's moving.
Yeah, for those who don't know, generally phones and computers is what QCOM's mainly known for, right? Your Android phones, a lot of those will run off Qualcomm chips, and the new Snapdragon computers, that kind of thing. But
that's moving fast, man. I can't even catch it how fast. I need a quick dip here to 173 or below, but that's a runaway. That could actually push tech higher today. And the daily chart looks prime off that 170. So I think if you had 170 and you got this news, you're ready to double tap and get on here. 172.70s is a daily level to look for pullback. So I'm going to put 173 and hope that it comes back, but it's pushing and pushing. I saw it at 175. It's 176.
Yeah, that's pretty good move or pretty good news because it's entering, basically a fancy way of saying they are now entering the AI game. They want to get into the whole data.
Yeah, they had already AI, right? They had the Snapdragon AI, but this is a little bit different. This is
this is data centers as opposed to personal computers, right? Yeah. So, and anyone who starts doing that gets rewarded pretty heavily because
they're in everything though, right? And I think that's the fun part of Qualcomm. They're in autonomous driving.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Qualcomm not going anyway, and I am happy to say that Amon follows me, so when a company that is how much is the market cap on Qualcomm?
Oh, it's huge. 200 bill.
All right, when a company is 200 bill, the CEO follows you. You keep following him, baby.
Yeah.
Amon, I'm with you, man. Go get it, man. I met them in New York. They're good people, man. They treated us really well in New York.
Argentina main stock market index rises 20%.
Yeah.
After midterm elections.
Midterm
Ooh-wee.
elections, man.
What are we doing trading this U.S. market, man?
It was a little bit too of a gap and go, right? I mean, those were already kind of ripped. You needed to kind of play into it, but hey. All right, seeing some pullbacks out there and about to step up here in path. I'm just keeping it simple, right? Keeping it simple, trying to play with the stocks that I know today. I think that's what makes sense. Just sticking, especially to those types of plays.
We still going here on Qualcomm. Man, oh man,
Yeah.
that was one of those, right? Rare that you can see something like that. Like we gave you the news live, and it wasn't already priced in. Like they're starting to catch up on that now.
Yeah, they're still driving it. I mean, definitely a straight bid now, up almost 9 points off of that report. So 5%, that's really good for Qualcomm, right? So
yeah, wow. Yeah.
Up triple digits now in Cleveland Cliff and continuing to rise. So I like that name, AEVA. There's the cut down towards the 18. That's why you wait for it and you don't chase, man. You don't chase. There's no need to chase in this market, guys.
Damn, up to 180 there on Qualcomm. That was a good one for you guys who like your news. IBM. So that might also that's good for QCOM obviously, and something you want to keep an eye on. But it probably also is going to reignite a lot of the other NVDA, a lot of these other news, right? So yeah, you might see Nvidia, you might see AMD, you might see Intel. It's kind of waking up, shaking up the whole AI trade, the old AI thing as a whole. If we all start moving together, because that is just another guy entering the sandbox, showing that there is real demand for the AI plays. Hey, we gotta, if everyone's catching up, then we might get a little move. So again, I own some Intel from right here after we had that kind of pullback and then retake after the government got involved.
We should have been owning it at 20s, 22. When I was calling it out and they were calling me a boomer on Trader TV.
Well, yeah.
They said, Mitch, Intel? Intel, really? A week later.
What I just wish it would be great if it broke and then he announced the thing, but all right, I'll wait for the take the socialized side.
And remember what I said, that I think Intel gets to 60 and then all the boomers are all mad about how they sold their Intel and now it's back to 60, right? I mean, that's the market for you. A name could go completely cold in like the ditches where no one thinks it's coming back, like GE, perfect example. And then the next thing you know, they start to actually financial engineer their company. They do splits off, cuts off, and then they make it re-sexy, right? That's all it really needs to happen.
Well,
now, I mean,
GE's a perfect example, right? You wouldn't want to hold that whole time because then you've just had dead money not doing anything for years and years. But it's the same. This was an example of what I was looking at for Intel. It's like, show me a real long base like that, and as soon as the base starts breaking out, take your shot.
That's why I like SQM. I'm gonna still say it, man. It's still been a beauty. Right? It's still been a beauty.
Yeah, that's another one. These low bases.
Right? Low bases, yearly long trends, like something that's been down 2-3 years now coming out of the ditches. Another thing you want to see is it like the underlying business? Is it more attractive now than it was when it was in that rut, right? Like GE, the business is super attractive now, right? It's not a ugly area to be in. And I think that's the important thing. Sometimes you got to wait till these things just get hot again, right?
Well,
like we weren't talking aerospace in, let's say, 2015.
Right. And it shows the importance of the different traders and the different investors that are out there, right? So when GE, when it's this low and it's just doing nothing for years, this is where value investors love this kind of stuff. They're saying, hey, probably around $30. Okay, we think GE is worth around $30. We're just going to buy it every time it gets there and whatever. Then when it starts to break out, you have a lot of trend followers, right? These old turtle traders starting to get involved where, okay, we're breaking a prior high, we're breaking out of a base. This kind of move is what we can start to get involved. And then as it starts to push higher, now you get momentum traders, right, that are into it. And this is kind of when the story charts starts to change and starts to pick up and the beauty of us trading this breakout is right where you're wrong. If G broke out here and maybe got into the 80s, then it just fell back into the 60s right away, back into the base, you'd say, okay, let me get out of here. If it gets back up, I'll try it again. But let me just get out of here now. And now 80s, right? So you didn't need to pick the low at 27. If you got in at 75, well, now it's 300. Just also goes to show it's the old saying that the bottom and the top are the most expensive parts of the trade. You're just looking for that. Get you that meat in the middle. Move on. Speaking of meat or lack thereof, looks like Beyond Meat is tried to rally a little bit this morning. It's fading. I just wonder if this thing's going to just bleed all the way back in the next couple of days.
Yeah, I think it's just going to go sideways a little bit. They got a runway.
Runway to make gross food.
Yeah. Never in my life will you see me buying that.
I tried it. I said, let me see what all the hype is about.
Just not for me, man. I would just order the real damn thing. If I'm gonna it's like the people that are like, oh no, I'm being healthy because I'm eating a Beyond Meat burger at McDonald's.
Yeah, no, that's not right. For me, it was just kind of all right.
That's just not right.
Let me see what all the hype's about. I had it. I said, I'm good. We're having a sell-off here in gold. Gold's continuing down now.
Run to Costco, sell it now.
Below 4,000 an ounce. I'm looking for the pickup on this. I want to know.
I just want to watch gold rush this season, man. Those guys are used to having gold at $1,000 an ounce. They were yelling in the streets for $2,000 an ounce. Now $4,000 an ounce. Those boys are going to be loving digging for gold.
This is the anchored VWAP from the breakout candle right here. And that puts us at 3,900. That might be an area just to punch in just a little bit here.
Path getting volume and big jump there. Something happened. Ooh. That's the kind of flow I like to look at. Boom, boom, boom. I'll show you guys the flow action that just came in just out of nowhere. Bam, bam, bam. 11,000, 11,000, 2,000, 2,000, 7,000, 2,000, 11,000. Boom, boom, 10,000. 9,000. Oh yeah, somebody wants path. I just added really quickly. I got 400 now, but looking for this to ride up and start making breakouts now. Let's go. And this one will make me start looking at others. Now I could look at Twist. I could look at Beam. I could look at CRISPR. I could look at any of those names and try to ride that wave. So looking really good now. Let's see if it can make a run here to 18. Run on path. I actually traded this on Friday really well through the 16. So this has potential to run. And I like the daily chart on this. This is a flag pattern on the daily that's just breaking out through the trend line, right? Trying to hold day 3 move. So let's see if it can really break out here and get going. Cleveland Cliff now doing really well, up about 1.5% and continuing to just chug along almost to the 14 where I can sell it.
Yeah, we got through that pre-market high in the ES. Now we're pulling back just a little bit. So to me, that's the number, right? It's 6890. That's the number that I'm looking at real closely. And if that's just a pullback and then we start to move off that level, then it really could just be a trend day, which is a nice slow grind of a trend, which is great if you got some longs. Again, I am up a little bit on my CYH. I'm down a little bit on my Newegg, and just hanging out in both those trades, up just a few bucks. Looking to see if anything else happens. Do we get any kind of a move there? Where Pine is.
All right. Now I wanted to see 17 hold on path and it breaks 17.25. And at that point, I am golden. If I can get it back above 17.25, so we are looking really good for another win. There goes Cleveland Cliff, baby. Let's go. Cleveland Cliff. Steel Dynamics also starting to push there. That's what I want to see. So what you want to see a lot of times if you're in these stocks, right? All the steel stocks going up. So essentially, I'm not that much of a guru. Essentially, I just catching what? An industry-wide move. This is why I talk about industries and sectors over stocks, right? When you can catch the industry making a move, you can really make money, guys. Because essentially, the tide is lifting all the boats. Is Nucor undercut to 140 today? Oh, that would have been a pretty move too for the strategy. Undercuts 140, nice trend line right there. Runs into it, pre-market support, cuts down to yesterday's action, and then reverses right back up.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're looking at there, Rando, with the dollar.
Dollar's in trouble?
Nah, it hasn't moved last week or so. It's moved 0.01% in the last 2 weeks. So I don't think a gold is the dollar thing. I think the gold is one of those you have to be invested in gold. And, just like anything, just like any other stock out there or any commodity, this is what, like, if you take a look at like coca, it's just the example I get to just because it shows the coca. Here we go.
Come on, Pat.
Right? Did nothing, had this massive spike, and then a couple pullbacks as well, right? So dollar hasn't moved too much, not too much inflation out there to speak of, right? I know wages are increasing, so net people are making way more money. So I don't think it's a dollar story. I think this is just one of those, as soon as it starts to hit, everyone starts buying, and then it like always, you get the shoe shine boy indicator or whatever, it gets a little long in the tooth. You have people coming in to take profits, right? Talking about seasonality with India as a big gold consumer coming to an end. I just think it's probably profit taking. You're looking at your gold position. You're saying, hey, on gold, I'm up 51% year to date. Time to rebalance, right? Time to maybe take some of that off the table and rebalance into equities or something like that. And with less and less kind of trade tension, trade war stuff going on, that dying down a little bit. It's like, okay, let's take some off the table. Let's ring the bell there. So
all right, trying to hold a path 17 attempt here again, and just did that. Just kind of pushes. It's trying. It's reloading. Another 10,000 shares there at 1702. So whoever wants in at 17 is really big now. Unless this is a big sell, right? Could still be a big seller that's just trying to get out of a big position. But overall, this path looks good to go. Now I'll look for that real breakout. We need that momentum just to lift off the volume.
So how is the government going to pay the interest? I don't know. All I know is that if you look at the numbers, the dollar isn't down very much.
So just print it, dude.
Well, and it's like devaluing the dollar only works like it's like when people give the quote, "Oh, the dollar's lost 99% of its purchasing power and whatever." It's like, yeah. So if you just held dollars, that was dumb. If you worked, you're making more than you were before. If you held assets, you're doing fine. So it's like I don't really think
this is
it
just
matters.
the proponent, right? Of sometimes losing out to savings accounts and just holding cash, right?
Yeah, like I could get it.
If only thing you can be mad about, really.
Yeah, if you held cash, that sucks. If you're still employed, your wages have gone up with the rate of inflation the whole time, at least on net. You can see that data. When it comes to the dollar versus the rest of the world, well, this is that chart. The dollar versus the rest of the world hasn't really moved since 1967. Yeah. So your purchasing power is the same, right? The assets that you could have bought with the dollar are the same, and the dollar hasn't moved. So unless this is like some divine insight that you have and the rest of the world doesn't? If so, just make money off it. Buy puts right now on the DXY, and you'll be good.
Yeah.
Right. But it's always the unexpected thing. I'll always say that caused the next bear market. It's never like, because I remember people arguing after COVID that commercial real estate was going to be the next big bear market. I'm like, no, if everyone knows it's commercial real estate, that won't happen. And it wasn't.
I mean, if I had to take a guess, it would just have to do with the AI trade. If this bubble is going to go kapoof, it's because spending in AI is no longer viewed as a good thing. That's all it is. I don't need to make it difficult. I don't need to look around. What this bubble was created on, AI. If there's one thing that's going to pop it, AI. So until you see that people actually start getting hit on earnings report because they're spending so much on research and development, I saw a quote by Zuckerberg just last week. Zuckerberg put out a quote. I could care less if I'm spending 500 billion, 100 trillion, whatever the number is on AGI.
I heard that too. I'd rather overspend than under.
Exactly. Yeah. So until that trend changes, that's how the bubble goes kapoof. When people start saying, "Oh no, but Meta, you're spending too much money."
Well, yeah, and people clowned on him for that quote, but that to me makes way more sense. If he overspends, he's like, okay, I burnt some money. We'll make some more money in the future. It'll be fine. I'm losing a small amount of market cap on my business. If I underspend and everybody else gets AI before me, my business is done.
You run to bubbles. You don't run away from them. Will they go kapoof? Yes. But at the same time,
at some point,
as Zuckerberg's like, I'll wait for that moment. Right. And then I can pull back. Then I can pull back the spending. But at the time being, it's like seeing a leverage name that just literally tells you, I'm going to make money for you. And then you running the other way. Right. No, I got leverage on. I can make big money on this. I'm going to ride it. I'm going to ride the coat. This is why Apple's late. Wait till Apple opens their AI, and that might be the top.
Yeah, Josh in here talking about QCOM. Yeah, we called that out live. Yeah, we saw that tweet from our boy Walter.
Oh, it's continued. I couldn't take that though. That's too much of a no pullback position. This is what you call buy program, right? Like,
yeah.
This is I don't want it to come back to the 9 EMA.
Yeah, well, this was very much okay. They're entering the AI, the space, man.
And we saw it at 185. Sure. I think that was where we first saw it.
176.
176. There you go. That was the level.
Yeah, this was our boy Walter. So we're giving the
24 points higher
as we can.
24 points higher, man.
Just nuts. And you're right. And it's very important to point out. This is a 2-minute chart. There's like zero bottoming wicks on any of these 2-minute charts. So if you want to see a buy program, that's that. It. And what they're doing is they put a bid in, and then as the price moves, they're just lifting that bid, and that's what's creating the floor and the price. We'll buy. And you'll see when the buy program's done, because you get a little bit of a flush down. Then they may reactivate it again. But this just kind of one of those, there's not many news events that kind of shift the entire thinking behind the company. This is one of those, because it went from this is a consumer electronics guy, right? They're in all of your phones and a lot of your computers and all of the cars and a lot of this stuff, to now, data centers. That opens up a huge other market. So it's like, okay, now the value of this company has changed pretty dramatically here. I'm not going to chase it up here, that's for damn sure, but it was a great move, and I hope some people caught it. It's just not my thing.
Not your cup of tea, baby. That's all it is. Not your cup of tea. I'll tell you what has been my cup of tea. A stock like Cleveland Cliff, baby. Let's keep it riding. Let's keep it riding, man.
They're saying that Trump has shrunk his list of potential Fed chair members to 5 people.
Oh, 5
Waller, people. Bowman, Warsh, Hassant, and Ryder.
I like Waller. He's very outspoken. He looks like a Trump kind of guy. My bet would go on Waller right now.
So yeah, he's
my bet would go on Waller. I think he was the first one also to dissent. So just to Gotta
Oh,
put
he
it
was the
out there.
first one to want to load. That's probably why. Again, the interview question is real simple with this guy. How much are you lowering rates? Not
How much
if
and
you
how fast?
yeah, and if anyone says, "Well, we need to wait for the data to blah blah," get out of my office.
Out the office.
Bring in a new guy. How much
Ah.
are you lowering rates? And it's
Can,
whoever.
can they please just make a TV show about Donald Trump's like 4 years and someone just please be making that documentary because I need to watch that one. It's gonna be real fun.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
oh
market's
man.
right in the middle of its range. This is why we're talking. And it's funny, I'm trading like some biotech kind of names here.
Yeah.
Mitch is trading commodities. We're looking at things like QCOM that have fresh news. And it's because if you were betting for a crash in the market today, you were wrong. If you were betting for a rip in the market today, you're also wrong. And we are right near the opening price. Like I think
Yeah.
the opening price is right here. So yeah, we're exactly at the opening price. So it's just one of those, and it makes sense.
Microsoft holding well.
All of the news, all of it happened overnight. So I wouldn't
Mhm.
be surprised if we come in, fill the gap a little bit. The 6850s. I wouldn't see if we rally. Right, 6900s. This kind of range to me makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
It's there's it's unfortunate, and it will be a benefit for 24-hour trading. Is that there's sometimes all the move happened overnight. Sometimes you
Yeah.
get a big gap up, and after a gap up, nothing.
It happens, man. And one thing I do see Tesla riding and driving. Tesla driving. It looks like it wants 450 today. Then I see Microsoft holding on. I see Apple holding on. I see Google holding on. This is exactly what you want to see on a day like today. The SPY gapped up. The Q's kind of away from it. And then now what are they doing? They're just holding on. As long as it holds on, baby, and it's not a complete downfall, I think you're looking good. Nvidia and AMD are the ones that are kind of struggling here. And another thing is Qualcomm's news is not good for Nvidia, not good for AMD.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Look
what I
at
think's happening with
Micron,
Nvidia.
same thing.
Yeah.
Micron down also. So if you're wondering why your stock might be down, because it could be against that type of trade, especially
Yeah.
AVGO. Look at AVGO's hit today, right? And so those are the ones that are bleeding because of that Qualcomm news.
Yeah, and that's just supply and demand, right?
Yep.
You got someone else entering the field. He's going to take some business from someone else out there, and you'll just have to deal with it just the way she goes. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's just the way, not you don't have to be like a
Don't
smart
make it
NBA
hard,
guy,
man.
right?
Don't make it hard. Don't make it
More people
hard, man.
playing.
Leisure
So
doing well.
as he starts to rip down a little bit, that could be interesting. Palantir, again, we chatted about this and that Lumen in the morning. That it was gapping up to new highs and looked good. I think Palantir had something to do with Poland. I think I saw on Twitter some sort of news related with that. So nothing huge. I think it's really just a market's gapping up, and this is breaking. This had a huge kind of sideways base here, is breaking that.
Yeah.
It's like same thing we mentioned when we were talking about that Lumen earlier. Nice little gap up, but it's all just following the markets currently. So
One that's holding well in the semiconductor space, also riding up the market, ARM. ARM has been a good breakout here, guys. I think this is a really good breakout over the 150. You're about to get an all-time highs in ARM. I think this is one to watch for a nice expansion move, like you were supposedly going to get in ARM. Now I think the big boys are loaded up at 150 and watching this thing climb. That's the way I see this chart. Like I saw like Apple, where it was like the load up can easily be at 200 and they want all-time highs. ARM, I think at this point they're loaded in near 150 as much as possible, and now they're looking for this thing to just climb through the all-time highs. All-time highs is 188. You still got room, right, to watch this run another 10, 11, 20%. I think this gets to 200 for the end of the year.
And Tommy, you said an hour ago that the market would crash 40 minutes ago. Now you're back saying the market's going to crash in 40 minutes. So excuse me, if I'm not too, because
Tommy.
I just scrolled up and an hour ago you're like, oh, Bitcoin's going to 200 in 40 minutes. And that was over an hour ago. So it's the one thing, right?
Tommy.
If anyone, and it's just a good lesson for anyone. If you think you know and you're talking in absolutes,
Oh,
that is a fade.
clear
You could be
sign.
right, but no one knows, right?
Yeah. This
It's
arm though looks beautiful. I don't know about you, man. That looks
yes, that
prime.
looks
Look
nice.
at the monthly. Look at the monthly. Whenever I think there's institutional accumulation, I look at the monthly chart.
Yeah, because those guys are holding for quarters.
Yeah,
Right?
you know
They're
what I
not
mean? And
holding
then the
for
monthly chart will just look, it should look pretty on the monthly. That's how Tesla looks all the time to me on the monthly. And that's why I never would really long term bet against that chart. When monthlies look good, it tells me accumulation, right? Of
well,
course, you have to look at deeper inside the chart, but it shows you
all-time
something.
high breaks, especially on newer companies. All-time high breaks are usually
Oh,
great, right? ARM is a newer listed company.
and never broke the IPO low, right? Those are the signs that you want to see on an IPO that it's super strong.
Holding up as well, right?
Yeah. Holding up, looking
Wolf of Wall
great
Street.
here, guys.
Nobody knows. That's right. That's the thing is it's important to remind yourself of that as well, that nobody knows, that you'll never, because as soon as you think you know something, you think there's some sort of path to like
Ah,
100% win rate, and that's death, right? And that's how traders, like, there's no successful trader that I've ever met who has a really huge ego and thinks they know everything. I've just Most of the really successful traders I have very small egos, because trading is a job of coming in and being wrong
mhm.
half the time. You're gonna
Literally,
turn on your computer, and you know that you're going
if
to come
not
up with
more.
like 10 ideas, and half of those, at least, yeah, half of those ideas you're going to be wrong on. So that's why professional traders get really, really humbled, because they know tomorrow they're going to have to come in, they're going to say a bunch of stuff, half of those things are going to be wrong.
Oh,
And that's the whole thing, is that as soon as I meet someone with, really large ego, I go, oh, okay, you're new here, just I'll give you time. You'll figure it out.
that's
uh,
okay too, right?
you
And
know
this is the part of the game, man.
it's
And
part of learning. We all think that at some point, especially when we first start, and that, to me, that was my real turn of being, from a losing trader to a winning, is when I stopped chasing the certainty, when I stopped chasing the thing that would tell me what to do next in the market, and I really got systematic with one of those things, right? And it's, that's why you back test something and you get a 35% win rate, but the equity line goes up, you become totally okay with it, right? It's just the way it works. Uh, Someone's talking about this ASST. Uh, Looks good.
yeah,
I'd be a little bit worried about, right, something that has just reclaimed a buck, but we talk about all the time that dollar price is an important one, right? That dollar price is a big deal, because you have to be above that to stay listed. So sometimes you get this, it was under a dollar yesterday, it's above a dollar today. You get a little bit of hype, a little bit of euphoria, just because they go, okay, if we can hold this price, we don't need to do any reverse split shenanigans in order to stay listed, which looks like this one already had to do back in 2024. So it's a nice little pop here for some short float, small cap kind of guys.
all right, let's see if Path really wants to go. Man, I've held on to this bad boy, and the only way I've held on, guys, is really looking at the 30-minute chart and the 15-minute chart. Good lesson if you want to hold on, stop looking at those small time frames, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I think it's a great one to kind of explain that, and you can see it in those types of charts on Path, where it's just kind of hanging out here in a whole dollar level. If I go to the 1 minute, it looks like a heart attack, but if I look at the 15, it looks like, really developing above VWAP and holding VWAP, right? That's all good signs, right? So at this point, I've been waiting for the 1720 pop to actually add and take a big approach to this, right? Sometimes when you're getting consolidation right by your pricing, now I'm just looking for the breakout, and that's going to be my add spot to look for break even from that point and really get a winner out of it, right? Size in to the winners. That's the way I've been really doing really well in this time.
Another trade here from the bot in AN Auto Nation. I think this is an auto parts.
Yeah,
Dude.
AN Auto Nation.
Yeah, so just
Used car trade.
Looking a little mean reversion play, saying holy smokes, is down quite a little bit. Let's see if 200. If we can get it back above 200 today, that'd be obviously a wicked trade. But this is again a very light day for me. I've taken 3 trades. It's been generally I'm sitting around 5 to 10. Now I'm at 3, and that's just because again you look at the market. Hasn't done anything, right? And really just zoom into today's candle and you can see it. It's as kind of spinning top doji as it comes. If you go into that 15-minute chart that Mitch was talking about, you can see each 15-minute candle is just overlapping the one before it. Just not a lot. And we called this just to say, we got some stuff going on a little bit later, right? The more than 1,400 flights delayed today because of lack of air traffic controllers. Glad we got our trip out of the way there, Mitch. And
yeah, man,
we're not planning on going anywhere.
That's the one thing I can't take. I don't know about you. I can't stand being in an airport just stuck and waiting, dude. I've seen people stay there for days and days. I'm like, what are you doing here, bro? You've been in the airport for 17 hours? Like, what is wrong with you, dude? Like, do you not have money to get a hotel? Because I would go to, at that point, I'm picking whatever hotel and go into it, man.
The lounges, right? I get one of the perks for one of the brokers I use is if you've got a certain amount in your brokerage account, they give you access to a bunch of lounges. So I take those all day.
Yeah,
it's a
man. Why
different
not?
beast up there.
Why not?
They don't let kids in. That's
all right.
The worst.
Path is holding. It's holding. I'm still haven't gotten my trigger. It went to 17.19. So looking for the trigger to really get in this bad boy. A lot of accumulation. It's time to fly. Path. Here's 720s. There you go. I'm putting it out right at 1721, right behind the bid now. Sometimes I don't get filled when I do these, but I would rather put it right where I wanted to get filled than put the stop and then get triggered at like 1734, right? So there you go. Another ad for me. Now I'm up to 1708s and looking for this to ride. Let's go, Path.
Yeah, people are talking about trains at that point instead of planes. And I totally agree. Rando Terminal. I thought you were talking about planes, trains, and automobiles, which is just a banger of a movie. Rip John Kerry. But I'm the same way. I took a lot of high-speed trains when I was doing business over in China. And man, it's just such a civilized way to travel if you have a high-speed train. It's not going to take 7 years to get to your destination, but you just get to walk around, you get to hang out. They got a little bar, you go have a couple drinks, take a nap. You're not just packed in like sardines, unable to move the whole time.
Yeah. All right. One that looks interesting, smaller stock, Compass, CMPS. I just like the way the chart looks, Sometimes I tell myself, stop thinking too much. That's a nice looking pullback.
Chart. Well, this whole sector, right? So
looks good.
I own mostly MindMed and I own some PSIL. And the reason I got into that, I'll still be drawn here. This is the Anchored View app.
Q's holding, man. Q's are holding really well, guys, today. I think that's a lot of that Qualcomm move, right? Holding things up.
Well, what about that crash that's going to happen in 2 hours ago?
I'm actually starting to look for a Salesforce recovery. It's kind of hanging out down here at 256. Really good daily chart. I love charts like this that just get sleepy. People stop looking, and the next thing you know, kapow, right? So CRM is definitely one that I'm looking at as kind of more swing trade here. There are some leverage names too, but I haven't found too much liquidity in that CRMG. That's kind of your more liquidity name for Salesforce, CRMG. But
what's Tax talking about Winnebago? That was actually a great trade. Was that
Thursday? Baby. It was better than what was it?
Whatever that. Did they clip that? They should have.
Oh, I hope so, man. That was fun.
Actually ended up spiking.
It cost me a little bit, but that was fun.
Yeah, I remember I saw this spike right here. It was on this day. Yeah, so you saw the spike there into kind of the later end of the day, and I took it out there. But yeah, it was like it's really good. And I said it was a good looking daily chart, and look at it go, breaking new highs here.
Let's go, Cleveland Cliff, man. Just steal up, baby, steal up.
Oh, there goes Newegg. That's starting to
Ooh, could Trump
bounce
pull
there.
some steel tariffs off? Now that would be nice with China deal.
Well, would that? I don't know. Would that be good, or are these a U.S. company? Or I guess I can just
Majority.
look. Yeah, they got hit in April, so that's all that
Yeah,
matters.
yeah, exactly. The majority of them got hit with it, so maybe there's some sympathy for steel, right?
Derek saying, "Oh, you saw Trader TV at Neil. It's good. I'm on with Neil after the close today. I always do Monday nights with him. We shoot the shit about the markets. Good.
There you
He's
go.
good. Good dude.
Yeah, Neil's a good guy, man. He
Family man.
he was out on the World Series game, so he was able to make it at least to that.
Mm-hmm.
He made it to the win, the right game to go to.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to the losses. Those are not fun, but
Especially right. We don't get a whole lot of sports wins up here. So when we, especially baseball, like it's not hockey we're kind of used to, but baseball's usually not really our thing. So
yeah. All right, let's go path, man. It's just hanging out. I'm up about $60. I'm up almost 200 on that Cleveland Cliff. I've just been letting that thing work, man. Work. If the market wants to work for you, why are you cutting?
mhm. Well, and if we do hold above, which we're trying to get back over now, if we do hold above this pre-market high, I could see one of those kind of slow grind days where it's just, the shorts are taking all these down ticks and they're trying to figure that out. Like every time a down tick happens, you see a lot of bottoming tails here. Every time the market pushes down, there's some buying going on. That to me looks like a little bit of short covering behavior where a lot of people got caught off
Ooh,
guard. Maybe they took some
new
hedges or
high.
something into the weekend, and
New high on Cliff, so that's what you want to see. It held the small pullback, still holding top end Bollinger Bands on the 30-minute and just pushing. So I think it get to 14 today, and really, there's no reason why it needs to stop at 14. But I think 14 is definitely my target for the day. Right, I get 14 here. I'll celebrate the win. That's over 200, and we just keep it going. Keep the party alive. That's 300 at 14. So
nice.
it's not a bad little gain, right? And you just keep going, right? And I'm loaded in path, right? Like path could go easily at any moment 50, 60, 80 cents. So at this point, I'm just keeping a very close eye on path. Why? Because it needs to keep working for me. If it doesn't, it's okay to get out. Even if it's the best looking trade, right? You just have to ride it until it tells you that it's time to get out.
Well, back to our nobody knows conversation, right? You come up with the best plan you can, and you remind yourself constantly that that plan is going to be wrong a lot half the time, and away you go.
Yep. And the key, look at the deeper time frames, 30-minute pivot, recovery, really nice on that path. And then from there, it's just stay above resistance, right? If it just stays above 1709, we're looking good. If it just stays above here and hangs out, that gives it more time for those bigger buyers to keep showing up. And then also what happens? High the day scanners start to get triggered. Then the momentum traders start to come in, right? That's what I want to see here. I want to see a break of the high and momentum traders start being like, ooh, look at path. Right?
Well, and that's one of the reasons, right? New highs beget new highs. Is that as soon as it
Exactly.
hits new highs, it starts to show up in people's scanners,
Yep.
and then the people who just watch scanners all day and don't have kind of trade plans and all of that
Mm-hmm.
together, they see it come up and they go, okay, well now it's hitting new highs. Now I'm going to start buying in, and then if enough people do that, you get this kind of continued momentum. And then with that momentum, it will show up on other people's scanners and kind of so on and so forth. That's why you can have these nice little these combined moves where, once one thing happens, it just snowballs kind of on its way up.
Yep. Swing trade RX just sitting all day, guys. Sitting all day. I got 700 shares of that bad boy, so I gotta sit here, but still looking great, man. Just gonna look for it all day to kind of hang out, and then towards the end of the day, we'll watch for RX to make a move towards the resistance. All right, guys. Market is what's going on with the SPY? I got to take a peek, but here comes Path, man. Here comes Path.
XLV down a little bit, but holding pretty strong. XLF it's up a little bit. This was a nice look. Just going through some of the sectors, right? Utilities down makes sense. XLV, right, being down is not ideal, but pretty much most of the other sectors I keep an eye on are up here. And then looking at the SPY, it looks like we're grinding. It looks like we're pushing pretty good to the upside here, trying to get through this particular zone of that kind of pre-market high that I talked about before, the 68.90 area. We're right back there, struggling with that particular zone. Through that, we could fly. Again, I don't think it's going to be huge unless there is a short covering rally that has to take place, but could be a little bit of a grind.
Doing really good in this Cleveland Cliff, man. I'm just riding it, man. Great trading today. Is there one of those days where, you just ride the trades that you did well in, at least for me, and you don't go keep searching in the well?
Right. Well, and we talked about this earlier too, where if the market became choppy like this, you start to see a lot more independent moves. You can have stocks that are grinding up all day, ones that are moving down all day, and that's what creates this choppy market. We always got to remember it's not a stock market, it is a market of stocks. So if the index are choppy, it means some things are ripping, some things are selling. If the market's just ripping higher, those are the environments where everything kind of gets pulled up with it. Now we had the gap up, so right, most stocks should have gapped up. If your stock didn't gap up, you might want to look at why. But intraday, the market's done nothing, and that's kind of allowed things to have their will of their own.
That's for sure. I'm watching now getting tighter, right? And this is part of it, right? As you get closer and closer towards your profit target, you kind of start to hone in a little bit more. Now I'm honing in, guys. I'm seeing triple digits on both trades, doing well, and now just watching for pullbacks, right? To maybe just take the money and run, right? Can't be too picky, but at the same time, want to ride the trend until it isn't my friend.
So I'm looking here on Forex Factory just because, there's nothing. Like again, it's so hard. I haven't looked at this in weeks because I don't know which of these come out, which of these don't. So like tomorrow we have got a couple of manufacturing numbers and a consumer confidence numbers. I have no idea if those are coming out or not because I don't know which one of these are government. I guess the Fed must get paid separately from the government, or those guys are just working without getting paid because they're still doing that on Wednesday. So again, Wednesday and Thursday are the days.
Yeah, the Fed's still getting paid, man. The military isn't, but the Fed is.
Well, there you go.
But the military got a huge donation of $100 something million. Somebody said, "Well, I'll just give you my tax money. Here you go, man." Wouldn't it be nice to just be like, I just want to give some tax money away? Oh, good Lord. What's it like to be part of this uber rich?
Yeah. Well, I've heard a lot of them speak, and a lot of them are mad anyway. So
yeah, they're still mad. They're still mad. So
he can be.
All right, guys, ready to sell out Cleveland Cliff here. We're at 1385s. We just need to push into the 1390s or 14. I'm not going to get too picky with it, right? Anything above 1390s to 14 within 10 cents usually is only going to be a difference of, for me, in this case, $60. That's not too much of a difference, right? So I'm just more at the point, like just trying to let it ride. But as soon as it starts to turn, it'll be time to cash and run.
Yeah, that's the beauty of trailing stops, right? Because as it raises for people who just put their stop at break even and let it go, you end up your risk reward end up getting super skewed. When
Yeah.
you're up a certain amount, it's like, okay, are you risking $200 of realized profit in order to make an extra $20? Well, that no longer makes sense. So
No.
that's why I like things in a lot of my systems use either time stops or things like moving averages
Yeah.
or something like that for an exit, because as the price moves, it will move up with it. And then eventually, if the price kind of stalls, go from there. One interesting thing, I spoke with Jeff Hirsch there, who's doing the Stock Traders Almanac. Should be an interview coming out on the channel. Was able to grab him into the booth while we were there, and he talked about that they use two different. I have the note somewhere. I'll read it, but two different periods of MACD, and that's how he trades, because he
Like.
uses seasonality combined, and he has a short MACD for buying, because he talks about how the old saying, it's been around forever, that uh, tops are a process and bottoms are an event. Basically, bottoms happen quickly, tops usually happen much more slowly. So he uses a short-term MACD to try to catch the quick bottom, and then he uses a long-term MACD to sell, and that's because it takes, generally speaking, a longer time to merge over, which is one of the reasons I like trailing stops, using things like moving averages and stuff such, because sometimes the stock never tops out. It just stops going up and just
Mm-hmm.
moves sideways forever. And then, right, so as things move higher. So that's just an interesting way to look at it, that someone who's been, like, he learned to trade from his dad. The Stock Traders Almanac's been out for 60 years now, every year.
All right, guys. We'll see what happens there. Riding the Cleveland Cliff wave, hands on the trigger to get out here. But it's more, what I'll do is I'll just put the stop right underneath here if I need to go ahead and drop it. It's on the 90 MA. That's my sign of momentum turning, right? And so
Yeah.
a lot of times you can still get taps, and that's what I'm getting right now. But I do see some selling. There's 10,000 shares at 1380s. Now I can put it out there as it's recovering and give it the chance to keep going, right? So now I can put out 1377s. Remember what I say about stops. As soon as you put them out, don't expect them to hold on for too long. They're probably going to come and trigger that 1377 right here, but that's okay too, right? I'm at that point where I'm like, it's time to take the money and run.
Well, yeah, that's what you're wanting, right? Is if momentum dies here, you want to move on with your day,
And that's
and
it.
always remember our power, our superpower as retail traders. We
Mhm.
shouldn't care about getting out and then just getting right back in.
Yeah,
If we
and
have
there's
to.
nothing wrong with going
Yeah,
to what I call realized cash, right? That's the money that's in your pocket, right? Like
yeah.
actually in your pocket, and then using that. This is where I think a lot of times when you get momentum runs, it's okay to sell out of the position and use a portion of that to re-enter the trade and literally put it already defined as can be, right? Like, like I made 200 on this, and it can be like, well, I'm gonna go do $50 of risk on the next trade, and that's green money. That's literally playing with the house's money, right? And it's
Well, and
for
the
moves like
way,
this, right, where
yeah,
it's
and the
like the
way our prop
recovery.
accounts work, right, is that you've got a maximum daily drawdown. So if you're realizing profit, you're kind of adding to that. So maybe your maximum daily drawdown
Yeah.
was 500 at the beginning of the day, but if you made 200-300 bucks, well, your drawdown is really 700. Doesn't mean you just go ham and uh, try to figure, just try to YOLO against that, but it just
Yeah.
means you do have that extra limit to potentially take more trades or bigger trades.
Nope.
Shaw saying is, I saw some traders use stream these. Yeah, maybe. And again, I'm not a. It made me interesting when he said that as a systems trader, because I can test those things, right? And you know,
Exactly. Those
it's
testable strategies, right?
yeah, it is common wisdom that you can see it if you look at any chart, is that bottoms usually are like a V, right? You have some sort of climactic sell off and then things bounce, and then
Nope.
tops generally aren't. You don't usually get a top and then the thing just reverses. Now, you low float traders, you probably see that way more often. But he means, this is he invests in swing trades and that type of thing. So
Yeah.
generally, when a market tops out, it's a big process. It's a big kind of rounded top and pushes back down. So that's his theory, is that you want to be quick catching the V. But if I use a short term MACD, which again, for those who don't know, is just a moving crossover system, If I use a short-term one, it's going to get me out of my trades too quickly. I want a long-term kind of move because things kind of push over as
And
well,
it
right?
makes sense. You guys remember I had a penny stock strategy I was using for a little while, which was the 1 minute MACD crossed with the 15-minute
Yeah.
MACD crossed, right? So it needed to have both for it to be a trigger go, right? And like, let's say we could look at it on path, right? You got the cross just as the real momentum picked up. And then you look at the one and you just say, and as long as that can stay kind of in that bullish sense, then you can stay in it. In this case, you're starting to see the MACD crack on the one, but the 15 is still holding, right? And that's why the bigger time frames are going to give you more of that opportunity. The 1 minute, expect the whipsaws. So if you
Yeah.
like whipsaws, trade the 1 minute. If you don't, you might want to stick to deeper time frames, right?
Well, yeah, and he talked about too that any moving average system or MACD system, for that matter,
Yeah,
is lagging, and that's not a bad thing, right?
yeah,
There's nothing wrong with being late or delayed on if that's what you're trying to do, right?
exactly.
If you're trying to make sure you could look at it as lag or you could look at it as confirmation. Those are
Mhm.
essentially means the same thing. Because I asked him that, I said, well, what about lagging things? What about things that should um, it should happen faster or something like that? And he said, well, no, I look at it as the same thing where a lag is the same as a confirmation. I don't want to buy anything that looks like a V, especially in a downtrend, because then I can just end up getting scared out over and over again.
Out of that Cleveland Cliff at 1380s, it's still holding well. I think it can make it to 14, but I'm done with that one, guys, at least especially for the day. You know, one of the things that I'm trying to do and practice more often is just wrap up the day, guys, and just trying to keep the stress levels as simple as can be, especially in this day trade account where I'm still close to the end here and just trying to continue to grind to the end. And part of that is just not giving up gains, understanding that we come in with our momentum, we try to ride, we try to jump on the coattails of bigger trends, and if we don't get it, then we just sit back, relax, and wait for tomorrow's opportunities to
Hmm.
present themselves. All
Well, and
right.
that's 100% the move, right?
Yeah.
You don't. It's kind of like we talked about, with selling into just a massively kind of ripper market. Is that not going to be mathematically ideal to
Mhm.
do that? But especially as a discretionary trader, you have to
Market's
look at your mental
struggling too.
capital as well, right?
Market's struggling here too. Just to kind of point that out, we need some type of sector pickup here because only thing leading in the last 15 minutes is communication services, and everything else red in the last 15 minutes. This is
Yeah.
why I pay attention to the last 15 minutes a lot to just tell me these types of things. And that's exactly what the warning sign is telling me right now. So at this point, protective, ready to take gains, and ready to end the day.
Yeah, because if you look at we go back here to the futures, we talked about these two lines earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and that, hey, if we can get above that and hold, maybe we can get a nice little up grinder day. Just never happened, right? Got above it for a second, came back down, popped back up, came back down. This is an absolute do nothing day. So,
Yeah.
good day for what Mitch was talking about is if you made a couple bucks, you just hang out, right? If you feel the need to trade, maybe set an alert at this top line and set an alert at the bottom line. And if one of those things is kind of broken decisively, then you start picking up and trading again. But while we're cut in the middle of the range and really nothing's going on, I just don't make a day. Those to me were always the most frustrating days where you look back and you're really red on P&L, and then you look at the market and it did nothing. Like absolutely nothing. Didn't go up, didn't go down. Closed like a doji day on the daily candlestick, and yet you're down red. And you're like, how the heck did that? It was so. It's just one of those days where, like we talked about, we've got Wednesday, we've got a whole bunch of economic reports, and we've got Fed stuff, and we've got earnings from the biggest, most important dudes out there,
Yeah.
and that all occurs a little bit later. So for until then, just hang out. right? You won't become a millionaire between now and Wednesday, so don't push it.
Seeing some turnarounds out there, even Path coming back a little bit there. It needs a hold here, could pull back towards like the 17s and kind of play there. I won't play that game, at least letting it come back to 17s because I'm fully sized in. But at this point, it's just go or no go. And then if I need to, I can break even out here.
Yeah. So. Oh, that's the way to do it, especially with the SPY. Like, again, you can see here.
Exactly. Where you're seeing potential rollover. Now is not the time to get ballsy. It's the time to get protective.
Yeah, and if we are just going to continue to do this all day, where this is the opening price, and we're right there right now, you will have thanked yourself doing something else that actually like returns mental capital to you,
exactly,
as opposed to spending that mental capital inside this range bound market, so that you're sharp and awake and all rested and not burnt out for the next one.
Oh, and this is a lot of times another thing that I kind of use a lot of times is these Bollinger Band tests on like shorter time frames, right? So that's exactly what you got there on Path. You got that kind of cut down through the 9, but it holds to 50 and then it taps the Bollinger Band, and then now it starts to come back. So now at this point I could be break even no matter what and just look for it to either just send or not. Simple as that.
All right, right before we go here, another one from
what's up?
Boy Walter. AMD with U.S. Department of Energy forms partnership for $1 billion to build 2 supercomputers.
I might jump on this one.
So that's very QCOM-esque news.
Trying to get 255 right here, guys.
More AI related. And that might just completely reverse the market again.
Just grabbed a little bit there. Just 50 shares, guys.
So yeah, again, anytime we're talking the U.S. government investing in them to build a computer, to 2 supercomputers.
Woohoo! There we go. In the green. And at this point, put a stop. Let her work. Let's go. If it wants to come and get me, come and get me. But at this point, I got 50 shares. This is just a gift. Thanks for the gift, Michael. I appreciate that.
Well, listen, thanks, Walter.
Walter! And sometimes you're going to get spread out and then maybe it hits me here. But at this point, I got $45 just for just jumping in and just trying to look at the flow there. And now if it takes off like Qualcomm did, there you go. Look, I'm getting $70, $80 here, right? Mm-hmm. And then I can even take the stop off because now I'm deep in the green and look at that pullback. It would have caught that. It would have caught that stop for sure. So watch out there because it's pretty wicked. The spread there. There, I'm out there. I'm not going to let it mess with me too much, but look at that right there. That was a quick wick down. You could actually get in on this 255 move. I'm not going to push today, right? Because I'm deep in the green. But that was an interesting opportunity here, right here at this 255 right now. So we'll see if it just goes higher through that 258. But it looks good there. AMD with some good news out there. Not bad.
It also shows, right? You trade news just like you trade technicals, right? QCOM was one of those never looked back for a long time. You could have made a bunch of money on that. If AMD is going to be a little bit choppier, a little bit less
I like the
interesting, right?
Perspective here.
You take the shot. If you're wrong, you move on, right? No different from trading a breakout, no different from trading anything. Because QCOM gave you no reason to get out. AMD looks like it's a little bit choppier, and it might just be one of those. How known was the news, right? Is this? I'm just reading the headline as it kind of comes through my feed here, but this could have been something that was already known, and you just don't know. So just trade it like anything else. Is that some of them are going to rip to the moon for you? Great.
Also, where is AMD on the daily chart, right? It's through highs. So that's the hard part here. That's another thing. You're playing a stock that's already at the highs, right? So there's the recovery of the 255 right to 256, right? There it goes. So it's not like it wasn't playing there, right? It was definitely playing at that 255 spot. I was even looking at AMDL for their second there for like a swing, and it would have been at 2380s, already back above 24s. That's what you want to see. So I got stopped out there in between, market makers came and got me, the big tinfoil hat on. But that's what happened there. That's what happened. Everyone jumped in, put some stops, and the triggers down really quickly. Now a really quickly recovery. You don't think somebody's winning on that? Yeah.
Oh, lots of people are winning on it.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's a mythical creature that did it. I think probably some people
the Yetis got me. The Yetis got me on that AMD. But I'll leave it alone also because I have such a good trade on RX. I hate over dipping in the swing trade account.
Smart.
It just sometimes it just really creates recipes for disaster because then you're really good trade. All of a sudden you take like a hit and then you're just like feeling defeated when you're having a really good momentum. But nice catch on the news. We'll see if AMD can keep going and keep pushing towards the upside, guys.
All right, ladies and gents.
That was a fun one, man. Fun one today. We'll see you guys back tomorrow, of course. Tomorrow, starting up at 9 a.m. after Traded TV on my interview. You guys will see Michael here live. Don't go anywhere, of course. We got a lot more for you.